I want to punish the left the way that they punished the right.
Trump actually wanting to pardon people who were violent on January 6th. But I will say,
They should. In
the case of Trump...
And she just owns it. Dude, conservatives are so shameless. You can't even exist in the same world as these people. Like, what are you even dealing with at this point? It's just insane. It's insanity.
I'm seeing here that, like, it's a fact check, not totally accurate.
Oh, she Googled it. It's a fact check. So she's never seen the original clip before. So she had no idea what was being referenced. This is proof in real time. You're seeing in 8K, okay, 120 FPS, all right, 15 megabit per second resolution, high definition quality transmission, okay, that she didn't even know what the she was agreeing with, but she already has the conclusion in mind. She already knows, even though she didn't even know the thing. Just like when Tim Pool yesterday was screaming at Luke, and then he had to Google the story, and then he was reading the Wikipedia because he didn't even know what Enrique Tarrio was indicted for.
I mean, the point that I'm making...
Or no, we're just going to be attack, right? Remember, you always lose.
At some point today, have got to watch that link I sent you. It's awesome. I guarantee you within 10 minutes, you will have a sufficient level of rage, righteous anger, that you will be determined to watch the rest of it.
Okay. I believe you, yeah. We're working our way through. I got a few more. I'm going.
All right. See you, buddy.
Be careful. Josiah linked me. Another Luke episode.
We're going to be talking about Donald Trump's victory and why Gen Z men went for Donald Trump and why Gen Z women didn't. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Luke.
Real quick. Gen Z men versus women voting 2024 election. Just what are the numbers here so we can understand what... Okay, by age. 18 to 19 or 18 to 29. So for Clinton, it was a... Jesus. I'm sorry. This is 16 points. And then it was, so 16, and then 15, and then 14? Wait, so even on this, it's actually closed a bit, hasn't it? Gender differences in presidential vote choice, gender and age. This doesn't seem to be like a gender split as much as this doesn't seem to be an age split so much as like a gender split, right? The gender split is pretty consistent through the ages, I would say. It looks like it. Okay, that's what it seems to be the case. Damn, men ages 45 to 64. This is the category that's fucking killing us. And these guys vote way more too. Jesus. Been binging your D&D streams. Is that something that you want to do again? Are you still running with Lily? Maybe someday. Yeah, me and Lily are always chill. Oof, the education gaps as well. Damn. Well, even the education gap, I think, is more predicted by the gender split. Although, black women versus men. That's a big divergence. Going back to Bill Clinton, it was 9-point difference, and now we're up to a 14-point difference for Harris. Well, okay, sorry. Okay, so here we go. We have some basis, I guess, for evaluating now.
For Donald Trump and why Gen Z women didn't. So if you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourself, Luke.
I am Luke Beasley, a liberal political commentator, and just recently started an oppositional show with Isabella Moody, who's here with us as well, called The Grudge, where we bicker and argue about how much we disagree on everything.
Yep. Should I start?
I'm still not convinced this is a real person. I think that this is like a deep faked screen, and they're just going to like look in a direction and like talk at an empty chair. This is not a real human being. I still don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe this is a real person.
Right now? Yeah. All right. Yeah. I'm co-host of The Grudge with Luke Beasley. Yeah, we pretty much just fight. We have a lot of fun there, but it's kind of cool because not enough people on different sides of the aisle like sit in the same room and actually talk these issues out. So it's a lot of fun.
Why.
And we definitely get heated on there. So it's fun. You guys will see that today.
We've also got Lisa Elizabeth.
Hi, guys. So happy to be back. Everybody knows I book for this show. I'm really happy to beat up on a leftist today since they never show up. So,
God, why lie? Why lie about it?
Luke, thanks for coming. I really do appreciate you being here, but
I'm pumped.
Let's get into it.
Let me have it.
All right, so we were talking a little bit before.
So what is this? So Lisa plus the handshake cuck guy plus the beanie guy. Wait, is beanie guy even on here? Tim Pool is here, right? Plus the girl would be 4v1, maybe just 3v1. Jesus.
Or before we got started, we were talking about some of the repercussions from having Donald Trump win as opposed to having Kamala Harris. There's a lot of people that are on the right that people on the right would consider bebeing persecuted. Some people were put in jail. A lot of people were questioning whether free speech. A lot of people that are on the right that people on the right would consider being persecuted. Some people were put in jail. A lot of people were questioning whether free speech was
the left silences
under attack by the left.
Yes.
So why don't you go ahead and articulate your position, Luke?
Wait, what? Hold on,
Before we got started, we were talking about some of the repercussions from having Donald Trump win as opposed to having Kamala Harris. There's a lot of people that are on the right that people on the right would consider being persecuted. Some people were put in jail.
Who was put in jail for free speech? What are they even referring to? Or did I miss something? Or is he just talking Jan 6? Or I don't know what the fuck he's even referring to here.
A lot of people were questioning whether free speech was
left silences.
Under attack by the left.
Yes.
So why don't you go ahead and articulate your position, Luke? What do you think?
About whether or not people were being persecuted?
Yeah, so when we were talking before the show, we were talking about how I was saying how I want to punish the left the way that they punished the right.
Remember what I said. Don't ever forget this, right? In their mind, every single behavior is greenlit because they believe in this false world where liberals have already done it all, right? So if you were to see Donald Trump just like arbitrarily sentencing people to be executed, they would say, okay, fine. I mean, liberals already executed us. Remember when Obama ordered the drone strike? Remember when the Clintons ordered Seth Rich to be killed, right? Every single behavior is on the table for them because they've deluded their fan base into thinking that Democrats have already done all of it. It's always this retributive kind of thing. Remember, even Pierce said it on my episode where he said they're getting even, and now they're going to have payback or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
No, the way they did, like to where we felt unsafe. Like I live in Philadelphia, and you couldn't have a Trump sticker on your car because they would smash the windows out. They burnt cars, right? They would attack your house.
They burnt cars and attacked houses simply for a sticker? Really? That was all that happened? Really?
They would physically harm you or say things to you or be nasty to you. We had like elected representatives saying like, not attack these people. That's what I was just like confront these people at the street, at the gas station, in the grocery store, right?
Hold on. Wasn't she talking about like arguing specifically with elected political leaders there? They didn't mean anybody on the street, no? Isn't that what she's referring to? Fuck, who am I thinking of? Who made this statement?
If we can't protect the children, we can't protect anybody. If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
You can argue whether or not this should be like how you should operate in an environment with elected officials or with cabinet members. That's fine. Have the argument. But the argument wasn't, she didn't say go after every single Trump supporter at a gas station. She literally specifically said cabinet members.
They would attack your house. They would physically harm you or say things to you or be nasty to you. We had like elected representatives saying like, not attack these people. That's what I was just like confront these people at the street, at the gas station, in the grocery store, right?
Keep in mind, before they were in office, it would be Republicans that would say things like, you're our public officials. You should be our public servants. You serve the public. You serve us, blah, blah, blah. But okay.
Referring to Maxine Waters specifically.
And we felt.
Oh, and he even calls out the name, but he doesn't. I wonder if Luke even knows this.
Like we were getting kicked off of every social media platform. I was considered a quote hate agent on Facebook and was like not allowed to have one, period. Right? Like a hate agent, all for posting a picture. I didn't post any commentary. I just posted a picture on the thing, and they canceled it forever. It wasn't until I went to work for The Hill again and got my congressional email back was I able to have it. Like they censored us, they isolated us. It was almost like, how you guys accuse us of being in a cult all the time. It's almost like you guys are in the cult. Like if you can't be friends with any right wing people, you can't agree with them at all. You're isolating like the opposition. If you're all not on the same page, it's a problem. Where like we can at least criticize our people. We can criticize the president. We don't isolate.
Well, Luke just asked. Luke say, can you give me like 3 criticisms that you have of Donald Trump that are substantive in nature? Not just like he's mean sometimes on Twitter. Because also that's not even a criticism. You like that. Like just like what are 3 criticisms you have of Donald Trump? 3 things you don't agree with him on.
Anybody, like we're willing to talk to you, and we don't like threaten you with violence. And you can bring up January 6th or whatever, but it really felt like
we need to get into that for sure.
Yeah, but it really felt like if you were on the right, you were a pariah in society.
You see that in the comment section about me. Like,
so first off, political violence of any kind, if you're saying that someone attacks your car or something because there's a MAGA sticker, that's insane. They shouldn't do that. It is important to remember that the data show that right-wing political violence is far more political violence.
Well, sorry about that data, because I don't agree with that. That data is fake, and my anecdotes in Philly are real.
Shouldn't do that. It is important to remember that the data show that right-wing political violence is far more political violence. Well, I'm just gonna finish.
Because he should just ask her, like, oh wait, so did somebody? You said if you put a bumper sticker on your car, somebody breaks out your window. Did that happen to you? Do you have a photo of that? Do you have a video of that? And then she's like, well, no, but it happened to a friend. Like, oh, did they send you a video or a photo? You're telling me that you were the victim of political violence because of a bumper sticker and you didn't post that all over social media? Ha! Press X to doubt, motherfucker.
Finish the point. She went for a while there. And then, you bring up January 6th. That's an instance of political violence. But What you need to understand about something I've explained to Isabel before is that to understand our political analysis of two different relevant prominent leaders, you have to at least limit it for some logical discussions to the leaders we're talking about, not vibes and abstract perceptions of an entire side. Because on any side, people will do crazy stuff.
Abstract
but in the case of,
perceptions, like look at the BLM riots for months. Like that's it's largely left-wing activists. How come it's that
and
base?
Democrats believed that if you committed crimes, you should be held accountable for them.
That's not true.
They
Unlike
were
Trump,
bailing them out.
actually,
Kamala
it's
not true.
herself.
That's not true.
I hate these fucking shows. They were bailing them out. So, number one, what do you think bail even is? What do you think bail is? Bail is not you escape all of your criminal charges, okay, dipshit. That's not what bail means. Two, Kamala didn't bail anybody out. She retweeted a Minnesota bail fund that you could donate to one time. And then three, Democrats had to disavow all of the BLM riots to win the election. And they did it. Biden and Kamala, when they were running on their ticket, were literally saying things like the riots are unacceptable. We need peace, right? Republicans don't even acknowledge J6 happened. Or if they do, it was a Fedsurrection. Like,
unlike Trump actually wanting to pardon people who were violent on January 6th. But I will say,
They should, all of
in the
them.
case of Trump.
and she just owns it. Dude, conservatives are so shameless. My God. You can't even exist in the same world as these people. Like, what are you even dealing with at this point? It's just insane. It's insanity.
I'm all for protecting free speech. Y'all will sometimes mix up social media censorship, which if you have a platform, you're on the platform, and you have terms of service. We can debate
the
about
town square
what
now.
those terms of service should be, but that's not.
That's the town square? Really? It's a public area? Are we going to regulate it like a public area then? Or what do you mean by that? It's a public area.
the same as government infringe.
But the government did infringe.
right?
The
And I'm just
FBI
going
did
to complete my
Oh,
point.
the government did infringe. Now she's going to erroneously cite the Twitter files that she never read, where Matt Taibbi himself literally said explicitly there was no evidence of the FBI being involved in the censorship of the Hunter Biden story, but she's just going to ignore that because she didn't read the tweets.
Really quickly, we can address that.
It's already getting heated. Not even 5 minutes in.
No, and then finally, I've never heard Vice President Harris advocate for censorship, whereas Trump literally said the government should come down hard on MSNBC. That's your leader of your movement, not just some random person out on social media.
Which I disagree.
Please they're going to bring up the Walls quote saying he wants to make hate speech illegal. I don't know. I feel like I know all the Republican misinformation lie points.
With that, by the way.
Kamala
see.
Harris absolutely said that she was going to look into expropriating Twitter from Elon Musk because he had lost his privilege. These are her words.
She's going to look into, wait, what? Expropriating Twitter from Elon Musk?
That's a direct quote. Lost his privilege to own because he was being. I guess the way that she phrased it was he wasn't doing enough to censor people. She literally said lost his privilege. There was that is a direct quote.
Okay. Kamala Harris, Elon Musk lost his privilege. What was the quote here? Oh, why not link the clip, do they? After a nationwide suspension of billionaire Elon Musk's X platform in Brazil, social media users, including former independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr., are misrepresenting a years old video of Vice President Kamala Harris to falsely claim that the Democratic presidential nominee has threatened to censor both X and Musk. Here's a close look at the facts. Claim: a video clip portrays Harris as saying that she will shut down X if she wins the 2024 presidential election and that Musk has lost his privileges. The facts: that's false. Harris was referring to Trump long before Musk bought Twitter and rebranded it as X. The clip is from 2019 and shows Harris speaking with CNN host Jake Tapper after a Democratic primary debate discussing whether then-President Donald Trump's profile should be removed from the platform, calling Twitter at the time, and how there needs to be increased accountability for social media companies. I feel like Republicans literally didn't learn anything from 2020. Not only did they not reflect like they begged Democrats to, they were like, let's just run the same campaign and pretend that it's like the same fucking year. Because that thing about the trans people in jail, wasn't that something she said in 2019 as well? Like, let's just run against 2019 Kamala Harris. We're like, okay, let's go. This was retweeted 105,000 times. Wait, where is can somebody link me this on Twitter? Either the account was deleted or the tweet was deleted. Okay, well, that's cool. More fake shit. That's good.
Lost.
I'm going to pull it up.
Lost his privilege.
I haven't even seen that.
Right.
So that's an actual direct quote from.
If you can find her advocating government,
well, the FBI had a desk. They had a portal at Twitter.
Notice how it's an immediate pivot from lie to lie to lie to lie to lie. Lie about everything. Lie and 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 lie. Keep lying. Lie about every single possible thing and keep lying. And when they try to call you out, just don't even address it. Just go on to the next lie. Because none of it is about being honest or truthful, right? It's just about, fire hosing as many lies out as possible, that you can't correct every single one. And as long as you're right about one thing, is this where it comes from?
Warren as opposed to Vice President Biden, including you.
Well, the dynamics on the stage are the reality, I think, and I think the reality then is that everyone fights for their time. 75-second.
Trump.
This is a former prosecutor. You have to.
Your warrant on was your call for Twitter to suspend the accounts of President Trump. Why was that important?
What's important about it is this, Jake, and I say this as a former prosecutor. You have to take seriously witness intimidation. You have to take seriously an attempt to obstruct justice. You have to take seriously a threat to a witness and really to their safety and potentially their life.
Is that where this quote comes from? I don't know what the original thing is he's even referencing, so, but okay.
Where the FBI could tell
Trump,
people,
you mean?
no, not.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter that it was under Trump. It was.
I'm just saying. You're talking about something.
No. It doesn't matter
media
because
platforms have
it doesn't matter because
It doesn't matter because the deep state. It doesn't matter that Christopher Wray was Trump's own appointee. Then none of that matters. It's all the deep state.
It doesn't matter that it was under Trump. It was.
I'm just saying. You're talking about something.
No. It doesn't matter
media
because
platforms have
it doesn't matter because the FBI
has happened.
It should not.
But
The
it's not
FBI
forcing
should.
them.
It does not matter. The FBI is not in a position to tell private companies who they should and shouldn't censor. That's illegal.
But they didn't do that, did they? Can you give an example of that? Let's go look in the Twitter files where that actually happened. Find that as an example.
So I'm asking you, you're saying that Trump's administration was engaging in illegal behavior.
I'm telling you the FBI, and it doesn't matter if it was Trump's administration.
No, it does matter.
No, it doesn't.
No, it
actually.
doesn't.
I'll explain to you why it does matter.
I'll explain to you why it does. Go ahead.
There has always been between private and public entities communication, sharing of information in some cases.
This is obfuscating the
let me
point.
just
You're
explain
absolutely
the dang
you're-
part.
It's already a 4v1 or 3v1. Let him fucking speak. Holy shit. Just let him finish a fucking sentence. My God.
You're absolutely obfuscating the point of the.
Listen to what I'm saying, though.
Wait, let him finish, though.
Listen, I'm saying that I agree if the FBI said, we're going to punish you, Twitter or Facebook or something, if you don't censor stuff we want you to censor, that would be a huge problem. Them going also under the Trump administration because Trump was upset that some actress called him a mean word, and they went and requested, hey, we think this violates your terms of service, which anyone with connections at Twitter can do. Hey, does this violate terms of service? Because you might want to take it down. And then what we've seen is the percentages of the actual posts they end up taking down proves that they're not feeling threatened, because a lot of the ones that the government will go, hey, is this against your terms of service? Like, I guess the FBI example, then the social media platforms don't even do it. So they're not even being pressured enough to do all the requests.
So let me.
If there were pressure, then I would agree with you.
But there is pressure. There is fundamental pressure. Now, I used to. I was
Just
telling
the existence of the FBI saying,
asking
hey,
something.
You should do
Can
this.
you look at this?
When the government asks, that is pressure. And to say that it's not is ridiculous.
What are you talking about? Just the government. Like, listen to these fucking losers, right? Oh, God. Rewind the tape on the Tim Pool thing. Donald Trump yesterday, Tim said, or 2 days ago, Tim said, Donald Trump saying that he's going to sue media companies that are mean to him. That's not pressure. So it's legal. There's no problem with that. That's not pressure. That's okay. He can do that. There's no pressure there. But the FBI saying that, like, hey, these accounts might be bots or these accounts might be foreign actors, that's so much pressure that Twitter has to acquiesce. They have to give in. Also, by the way, even though we did the entire Twitter files, there's no evidence of this ever happening, even one time ever. Please ask. Please show me where we had the Twitter files. You had your Twitter files. You had what you wanted. Where is the evidence that Twitter was censoring accounts or taking accounts down simply at the behest of the FBI? Where is the evidence of this? You have the Twitter files. You've done everything. Show us. What are you talking about? What are you referring to?
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
if the government
we don't hold that principle on a bunch of other things.
Yes, we do. Here, let me explain to you why. I used to work for Congress. I used to do casework. I was explaining this to Isabella the other day, right? And we would advocate for our constituents. And sometimes we would have to advocate for our constituents to, say, like American Airlines or a company that wasn't a federal agency. And when we did that, we had to make sure we said, can you give this request consideration, full and fair consideration under the law? However, even though we put that stipulation in there, we knew by the government coming to ask them that we were exerting pressure because they're like, oh, a congressman asked for this to happen, right? And what happens is that they know that if you have histories of not complying, that they can come and like investigate your business.
They have endless resources.
And
They
they've
can
been
just
doing
come
that. The
for you.
DOJ, don't they have an open investigation under?
Okay, give an example of this. What do you mean? Like, and what is the request? Because if the request is like, hey, we've noticed that you are that you have it so that on break your managers are allowed to slap the shit out of your employees. Can we get like some information about this? And you're like, okay, well, they know that's some pressure because if they actually are, we're gonna like, what are we even talking about? Like, and again, an example. Give like 1 or 2 examples of what we're talking about.
Love to flesh out that principle because it feels like you really limitedly apply it. For example,
when Donald Trump says he wants to go off the media,
coverage saying CBS should be taken off the air, ABC should be taken off the air.
Is that pressure? Is that pressure? Thank you. Good question. Is that pressure?
SNBC should be targeted by the government.
Isn't that
Explicitly, his
pressure?
word, you can look up the True Social.
Yeah, and this is. Oh, did she just say yes? Oh my God! Wait, is she going to agree to that? Because I was going to say this is why people say you're in a fucking cult. It's because you won't even acknowledge it. Like, okay, maybe that is pressure. But hold on, maybe she's about to acknowledge it. Let's see.
Targeted by the government. Explicitly, his word. You can look up the True Social.
Yeah, he did.
Does anyone here agree? Like, I don't think that's okay.
None
obviously.
of y'all.
Oh, the AI bot lady said that she thinks it's not okay. Wow. Okay, good for her.
Are fixated on that. Whereas Harris, I still haven't seen the clip.
I just pulled it up, but I'm seeing here that like it's a fact check, not totally accurate.
Oh, she Googled it. It's a fact check. So she's never seen the original clip before. So she had no idea what was being referenced. This is proof in real time. You're seeing in 8K, okay, 120 FPS, all right, 15 megabit per second resolution, high definition quality transmission, okay, that she didn't even know what the she was agreeing with, but she already has the conclusion in mind. She already knows, even though she didn't even know the thing. Just like when Tim Pool yesterday was screaming at Luke, and then he had to Google the story, and then he was reading the Wikipedia because he didn't even know what Enrique Tarrio was indicted for, even though he was screaming at Luke because he was insisting that Enrique Tarrio was innocent. They didn't even know the charges.
So I want to be good about what it says. And
you're already bad. Even if you completely and totally correct yourself right now, you've already f***ed up because you already so confidently leaned into this and you weren't even remotely familiar with the source material.
Alan, I put it in the thing, but you can look.
Again, yeah. So I'm sure there's some random lefties who are too pro-censorship and stuff like that, but I'm looking at people in positions of power because then I know that they're actually relevant to political discourse. Trump's the only one I've heard overtly calling for censorship, which is why he would be the more anti-free speech candidate.
Okay, so here's what I want to say to that, right? When I tell you that...
Bring up the fact check. Bring up the clip. Bring up the fact check. Bring up the clip. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. Let's watch it. She brought it up. Looks good.
He would be the more anti-free speech candidate.
Okay, so here's what I want to say to that, right? When I tell you that like mass people, and they've shown data to support this, were being pulled off of social media outlets, right? Like they were the ones. If you look at the data,
they showed the data. The data? What? Bring it up in the Twitter files. We had the Twitter files. Data full dump, access to all of the logs of the previous company's owners from Elon Musk, and then they publish it all on Twitter. So you would imagine this is going to be the most in favor of Elon and his statements ever. This is going to be the most like favorable to his point of view ever. So point it out where in the Twitter files was this evidenced?
Data. There is another graph too that shows now that Elon Musk bought Twitter, it's an even split. It's almost identical.
That was a CNN.
It was a CNN, right?
Of people using the
platform. And before it was skewed so far to the left. And that...
What does this have to do with anything? Excuse me? This is not proving any point whatsoever. It could be, even in like a bad, we could just assume maybe Twitter just banned people from the right because Twitter was biased. That doesn't prove anything about the FBI. Or it could have been that maybe conservatives didn't like the platform as much. Or maybe they use the platform more now because they like Elon more. Like there's a million explainers for that. What is this? And I don't even know what the kind of study I know what she's referring to. It was just that stupid graph by CNN. That's not even using probably official data. It's probably like a random sample of accounts would be my guess because I don't think they have any access to Twitter's data now.
That is not because of usage. That is because they were deactivating so many accounts.
A lot of it's because of liberals not using the platform anymore. But I've looked into
what, they went to Blue Sky in the last month?
Didn't
Blue Sky literally report like an explosion of users? Didn't that actually happen though? Like what, like no? Okay.
Analyses that have demonstrated that it's because right-wingers violate the term of service. Now, you could say the term of service should be different, and that's totally fine.
Well, okay, so
and I have issues with term of service sometimes whenever videos of mine get taken down or whatever, but that's different than the left or Democrats have.
So now I want to push back on that idea.
Do you understand the distinction, though? It seems like...
But like, can we at least get an acknowledgement that you cited one story like completely fucking wrong? Like... Is that, or are we just going to move on from that, or?
No, I mean, the point that I'm making.
Or no, we're just going to be attack, right? Remember, you always lose in this environment. This is also what I mean, right? Media environment. You're always losing because conservatives are allowed to attack you on 90 things. And it's like you're basically, like imagine a fight where you're given a shield and the opponent is given, like a sword. The best you can do is survive unscathed. And people might look favorably upon that, but that's it. That's the best you can do. And if you get hit like 2 or 3 times, like that's all people remember. Oh, what a loser, he got stabbed, right? And it's like, okay, well, but this is it. It's like defend. Like it's so cringe. Ugh.
But that's different than the left or Democrats have.
So now I want to push back on that idea.
Do you understand the distinction, though? It seems like
I mean, the point that I'm making though is when you say violate the terms of service, this speaks to something that actually Tim made a point about when he was on the Joe Rogan podcast, right? So if you say, like, if you make remarks about trans people, if you dead name someone, that is something that you could lose your Twitter account, you could get locked out for dead naming. But that isn't because of that's an ideological.
Is that actually true? I don't know if that. I know that right now, if you say, well, I don't know this, but I've seen tons of people post pictures of this. I don't want to risk my account getting banned. But if you tweet out the word cisgender, isn't that like blocked?
Position. That's not like if you say, oh, you're violating the terms of service because you're harassing someone because you didn't dead name them. That's an ideological position.
Right? It's not like constant harassment. And the things is that the terms of service were so vague.
Yeah, they're ambiguous. No, they're not
terms of service.
If the terms of service, if the people making the judgment about the terms of service are ideologically,
I disagree with you.
Yes, but Luke already stated that, you dim fucking nitwit. Like Tim or Luke already literally said it might be like a TOS issue where somebody's getting banned, and we can argue maybe the TOS favors one side or the other, but that's a lot different than they're just like banning accounts for no reason. And we're so far removed off of the FBI is telling them to ban accounts, right? We're in a totally different world of claims now.
Of course.
You just said that it was.
And I do think
what is racism? What are these different things? What is hate speech? All of that's going to be completely subjective, obviously.
And by the
that's
way,
just the
they
way
only
that
target people
private
on the
platforms.
right.
The only
Well,
way
that's
that you can make this a
disgusting.
constitutional issue is if you like nationalize social media platforms.
No, because the government trying to use a third party to censor is illegal as well, and that's
Where evidence? Any of it? Are we ever going to get that?
the Supreme Court has found. So the government is pressuring social media companies to block people or to boot them off the platform. That's a violation of their constitutional rights too.
What is the where?
But you can't say that. The only way.
Totally fine. I agree. They shouldn't pressure. You're also
Fuck. He shouldn't. Even. I mean, yeah, we agree they shouldn't. But like, where's the evidence of this happening?
not really making a right or left issue because that's something that the immigration part
I don't-
a lot. And Trump actually says it more overtly. So
Okay, well,
it sounds like you're
I'm
the
a
Democratic Party.
Democrat.
I don't have. Go ahead.
There's only a bunch of Democrats then. Awesome.
Because I remember a few years ago, congressional Democrats putting pressure on social media company owners to start censorship. And even just right before the 2024 election, Adam Schiff, what did Trump call him? Shifty Schiff with his long neck, whatever, pencil neck Schiff.
Watermelon head.
He demands social media companies take action in advance of 2024 election to address spread of election misinformation, which they also did with COVID. They were censoring doctors and anyone that had different opinions regarding the efficacy of the COVID vaccine.
And the
that happened.
Biden laptop. But that's
Spreading misinformation. Right. They censored the
The Biden laptop was less than a day. No pressure from the FBI. Like, what is the?
New York Post.
Right. So here's the difference,
You're,
right?
you're circling.
address that?
I'm getting to your point. That's what I want to do.
Okay.
Do you consider like social media the town square at this point in our given digital age society? Like back in the day, think about like
Oh my God.
in the 1800s, everybody go to the corner and talk, right? And if you removed somebody from that square and they couldn't talk anymore, right? Then you would be violating their First Amendment right? Like they can't, you're not allowed to say that like here on the street corner. And so that is the difference. Like right now, our street corner where our public discourse is being done on Twitter. So if they're trying to have it both ways, they're trying to say everybody can speak here and they're putting these arbitrary rules in, which, sometimes you were banned for no reason.
They.
Who's they? The government? Congress? Like Twitter? Who are you? The Jews? Who are we even talking about right now? Like
companies, these private companies, right? But that's the difference. They're either the town square or they're a private company. They're trying to have it both
and
ways.
legally not the town square, even though I agree they have a huge impact on our political discourse.
Right, and so
until we fundamentally change our laws again, you could only do it if you nationalize. You're going to have private companies, just like a business that you walk in, you can't wear it without shoes, or you can't go to the store without certain attire on. They're going to be able to regulate their own platforms. Just in our free society, that's going to be the situation. So then advocate for them to have different terms of service. If you're upset with the
we were advocating. Jason Fick is trying to tackle 230 right now.
So
he actually
advocate away, but y'all then attach this to the political parties in a way that makes no sense when only one of the political parties candidate actually advocates.
No, they did.
That's not true.
That's not true.
at
They
all.
had
It's largely being censored. Democrats and Republicans, come on.
You can make a good point, right? It's fine to make a point, but then you followed up with a blatant lie.
You have
blatant lie.
No,
you blatantly lied earlier multiple times.
Only one party advocates for
What about Adam Schiff? I just
It's
showed
the
you
most
that.
ridiculous blatant lie that I've
House
heard.
Democrat.
In this kind of
And it's 3v1 and he can't even fucking talk, bro. Holy shit.
forum that I think
so
ever.
I use the word censorship really specifically. So I'm talking about governmental censorship, and that's what you haven't demonstrated. But I have demonstrated that Trump has
No, we have.
governmental.
There's a
censorship.
portal. There has been like an actual congressional investigation into it.
Yes, public and private entities will communicate.
Not only that,
all the time about so many.
You said there was an investigation. What did they come out with? Now she's going to post Zuckerberg's letter where he goes into painstaking detail about how him and Jim Jordan had a satisfying hookup experience.
Out and said
As long
he's
as
still
you
Making an
censored.
apology for it is not the same
But
as saying
again,
it doesn't
so then
happen.
you're just as upset at the Republican Party, the Democratic Party.
No,
Fine.
don't
At Trump, you're mad at Trump because Trump's administration did that too. Fine.
No, I'm not.
Great.
I want him to go harder. I want him to censor all of them.
See, okay.
What? That's what I mean. These people are your enemy, okay? They're not like ordinary fellow Americans with policy disagreements. These are people who want to weaponize the government against you, okay, to your harm. They want to use the government. They want to use Trump's administration to hurt you and harm you and hurt your families and harm your families. This is explicitly, avowedly, this is what they want.
So,
I disagree with Lisa on that.
Everybody disagrees with me on that. But that's because I'm vindictive. That's because I'm vindictive, right?
Yeah.
Like my thing is that we've played nice. We're like, everybody followed the rules, but then
We played nice. My face when Supreme Court Justice deprived from our president Obama. We played nice.
Democrats don't. And there was a whole congressional investigation. Zuckerberg admitted to feeling censored.
Oh, and there were definitely things done wrong in the no, he was talking about in that time people overstepped on social media and the banning and stuff of people totally.
Right, but it was largely geared towards people on the right being censored. Zuckerberg said
Because of medical misinformation,
Right.
which I agree sometimes
they clearly got wrong, right? So
They clearly got wrong. The vast majority of that misinformation is to this day still seen as misinformation. What are you talking about?
the right was being censored. He admits it. So now I'm like, they have been punishing us. The IRS targeted how many people with conservative groups? That came out, right? I mean, I was there for that scandal. They have been targeting us forever. You don't.
Did that even come out? Was that even a thing? I feel like they accused it of happening once under Obama's administration. I don't know if it actually came out, if that was the case or not. I'm trying to remember if Republicans actually did do this to... Fuck, I don't remember who it was. I should remember this and I don't remember it. I don't think that anything came of that the Obama investigation thing, that he was like using the IRS to target people, but.
Remember that? Where the IRS targeted nonprofits?
Obama?
Oh, yeah, he was 10. I was on the Hill forever. So
it was under Obama, right? Like,
yeah.
It was in 2010,
Right, yeah.
11, 12.
I thought we were about to go to the 87,000 IRS talking point.
No. This is the IRS when they targeted religion. Anybody that had like Patriot or Christian or God or Jesus in their
buzzwords,
501c3 applications, they were totally pushed off so that they couldn't
I'm almost certain
financially.
that's not true, but
What are you talking about?
What was the
That's
full name?
ridiculous. I can't.
Just look it up. What do you mean? Why are you getting all indignant about it? I mean, we can look it up. Did IRS target people under Obama? I don't remember. Let's check. 2013, IRS under Obama revealed that it had selected political groups applying for tax exempt status for intensive scrutiny based on their names or political themes. This led to wide condemnation of the agency and triggered several investigations, including FBI criminal probe ordered by the U.S. Attorney General Eric Holder. Conservatives claim that they were specifically targeted by the IRS, but an exhaustive report released by the Treasury Department's Inspector General in 2017 found that from 2004 to 2013, the IRS used both conservative and liberal keywords to choose targets for further scrutiny. Initial reports described the selections as nearly exclusively of conservative groups, with terms such as Tea Party in their names. According to Republican lawmakers, liberal-leaning groups and the Occupy movement had also triggered additional scrutiny. But at a lower rate than conservative groups. The Republican majority on the House Oversight Committee. Remember, anytime it's a House committee and it's Republican, it's basically like a post on 4chan. Like, you always have to dig deeper into it because it's literally schizophrenics like shit posting to the public using the government to do it. Which concluded that although some liberal groups were selected for additional review, the scrutiny that these groups received did not amount to targeting when compared to the greater scrutiny received by conservative groups. The report was criticized by the Democrats, or by the committee's Democratic minority, which said the report ignored evidence of the IRS used keywords to identify both liberal and conservative groups. In January 2014, James Comey, at the Times Campaign Director, told Fox News that its investigation found no evidence so far warranting the filing of federal criminal charges in connection with the controversy, as it did not find any evidence of enemy hunting and that the investigation continued. In 2015, the Justice Department declared that no criminal charges would be filed. In 2017, the Trump Justice Department declined to reopen the criminal investigation into Louis Lerner, a central figure in the controversy. In October 2017, the Trump administration agreed to settle a lawsuit filed on behalf of more than 400 conservative nonprofit groups who claimed that they had been discriminated against by the IRS for an undisclosed amount described by plaintiffs' counsel as very substantial. The Trump administration also agreed to settle a second lawsuit brought by 41 conservative organizations with an apology and admission from the IRS that subjecting them to heightened scrutiny and inordinate delays was wrongful. So did we never get like a clear answer on if this ever even happened, or do I need to read? I guess there were never any indictments or anything, right? Because it was never.
The IRS targets conservative scandal. Just Google it; it'll come up.
Google the name
I
Lois
swear
Lerner.
on all my kids.
Yeah,
they were kicking people out of being nonprofits.
They were like not
Christian.
approving.
No.
Yep. So
yeah,
There's a Wikipedia on it. Bring that up on this.
Specific 501c3s that had these buzzwords, like they were putting the pressure on them, where if other
Right
ones
there,
didn't
the
get.
IRS targeting.
No one wants to have the IRS
whole
targeting you,
Wikipedia
okay?
on it.
Yeah,
Almost sure you're
definitely
positive it's not.
Oh, Wikipedia on it. Why do these people all make fun of me for reading Wikipedia when they all do this shit?
Not true. Give me a break.
I gotta read it. Holy smokes.
Yeah, it was really bad. And so I feel like I'm older than
An
you.
exhaustive report released by the Treasury Department's Inspector General in 2017 found that from 2004 to 2013, the IRS used both conservative and liberal keywords to choose targets.
Dude, it was
Rip.
overwhelmingly.
Wait. With all the key. Whoa.
Read the whole thing if you want. If you want to talk about the whole thing, then read the whole thing. Don't get to one line that says that it wasn't just one. It
says some liberal groups were selected, but it was overwhelmingly conservative. It was just.
It says
Initial reports. And then according to Republican lawmakers.
You just said.
No, keep going. It was overwhelmingly conservative, and it was to the point where they admitted that they did it and that it was wrong. I don't know which.
Really not okay.
No, keep going.
Here, I have a clip that I can send. I found a couple congressional clips.
It was so bad. So anyway, I feel like I've been persecuted, right, since 2008. I remember when. Listen to this.
That's crazy. You brought the heat and then pulled up that article.
True.
Wikipedia, first of all.
That
was awesome.
No, I said to Google it. I didn't say to pull up.
Persecuted.
Is he making fun of Wikipedia now because it didn't say what he wanted it to say?
Since 2008. I remember when. Listen to this.
That's crazy. You brought the heat and then pulled up that article.
It's Wikipedia, first of all.
That was awesome.
And now he doesn't like Wikipedia. What? Now he doesn't like it?
No, I said to Google it. I didn't say that Wikipedia was the one to bring up. But the point that I'm making, to bring up Wikipedia and say that Wikipedia, which is notoriously left-leaning, which is unquestionably notoriously left-leaning.
Oh my God. Like, little bro, how do you not see this happening in real time? Like, we went from, bro, there's a whole Wikipedia article on it, to, well, Wikipedia, come on, bro, it's a left-leaning, super left-leaning source. Come on. How does the audience not see, how do you not see how, like, cringy that is?
the point. Okay, this is
No.
Just the fact that it exists.
Y'all's burden of proof on this one.
I'll get it. Hold on, let me pull it up.
Here, I'll send you a link. I don't know
Just
if
because you
it's
don't recall it happening doesn't mean that it
none of
didn't
these letters
happen.
call for the targeting of
You
proof
didn't
on the
know
basis
of
of political
before
ideology.
Yes, it
that
did.
happened before your time. It doesn't.
IRS target. I was there. I was sitting in the congressional hearings. I was like on the Hill.
You were listening to Republicans.
Okay, Lisa, I
what
sent
they
you a
do,
link.
which is
Well, everybody does.
1 minute link.
Oh my God.
I was targeting Tea Party hearing. I don't know.
Yeah, it was brutal. Anyway, I feel like this. I feel like I've been. It was in 2008. It started. I remember.
Under the Peace and Unity President Obama, who
Let me
like
say, I
increased
was bringing
race.
up the CNN when
I was bartending, right?
Okay, there's the timeline.
Yeah, here we go. You
Yes,
can read that.
because they were using political keyword as the other thing noted. It sounds like, again, I'm reading up on this here. And
Why use
they shouldn't
political
do that.
keywords?
According to the report, actions taken to change the criteria, right?
But it was because
It was
conservatives
happening
were
not just to
complaining.
conservatives. Boom.
No, it was. It was mainly
mainly
conservatives.
We have a clip, 1 minute clip if we want to watch it.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's good, but
Oh, a 1 minute clip.
But it wasn't exclusively that, showing it wouldn't be. Sometimes, like, y'all do this thing where the outcome of something means the intention was something that it wasn't.
Oh, stop it. You guys do that.
So there might be, as
as
a
like a
random
leftist policy, they have these intentions,
there
but
might
actually
be,
does the opposite.
as a random
outcome.
example, if you put a bunch of political keywords, there might be, I don't know, more nonprofits that associate with the right wing that
Well, if you
use those
use terms like patriot, I mean, the left
if you-
doesn't typically consider themselves patriotic.
Patriots are Nazis.
because they're trying to find you couldn't have certain tax exempt status if you are politically active is why they were going after, right?
No, they were specifically, it was during the Tea Party era, and they were specifically using heavily more.
But but the
There's certain
reason-
rules.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
there's
She didn't even hear, or maybe she just couldn't even process what Luke just said.
So then, yeah, maybe more political buzzwords were used in nonprofits, and that was easier to find. Again, or maybe something was done wrong as well. Sounds like it was.
We just-
but I don't know how that at all bolsters the point y'all were making.
That the government
Because
targets conservatives.
Yeah, the government
Boom.
targets conservatives
Yes.
and the targets left. Another thing that I want to actually go back to, you mentioned
Trump.
Oh, and now we're going to hop to another topic. We don't get to actually verify at the end of the day any of these claims. They've lied about almost every single thing they've brought up so far. Like almost every single thing that's been brought up so far.
You mentioned the right doesn't do, or the right is where political violence.
No, here it is. NPR. Here you go. I'm going to send this up because it really is. They actually apologize for. Kellen, I'm sending this to you right now. Hold on. Pull this up.
Also, I think
It's an NPR.
When we say they apologize, by the way, it was once Donald Trump was in office, then the federal government was willing to settle a suit and apologize for it, just to be clear. Okay.
NPR article. So you know NPR's to your side.
Yeah.
Pull up just the link that I sent you. There's no excuse for the agency's treatments of these groups, and they specifically apologizes for aggressive scrutiny of conservative groups. It was more heavily skewed towards conservatives. It was.
But that was after Donald Trump took office, and I still don't think that there was any evidence presented. Right? It was just Jeff Sessions saying like, "Oh yeah, we fucked up. We love conservatives. We should pay them back." That's so, like the settlement. The details were private. They literally made it a private settlement. So we can't. Why would you even make that private? Wait, should that even be legal? Should the federal government be allowed to have private settlements? I feel like I don't like that. I feel like that's weird. The Trump administration agreed to settle a lawsuit filed on behalf of more than 400 people for an undisclosed amount. Why? That's taxpayer money, no? Isn't that public funds? I feel weird that the federal government can settle civil suits for undisclosed amounts. That seems weird, but okay.
And so what?
And y'all misarticulated it being for the purpose of going after conservatives.
You just see that this is wrong.
No, I told you they even noted that it was inappropriate. Totally agree then.
Yeah. So they noted that it was
You totally agree because you're totally agreeing now because they finally have found. We finally
he didn't
found
have the
something that says that.
He didn't know about it yet.
I was hearing you out this whole time.
You were doing all
thrown
you
off
could
by
to say. No, this didn't.
He was just asking for details because neither of you dipshits, Dumb and Dumber, didn't know fuck all about the actual thing. You had literally to Wikipedia it because you didn't even know the details of what you were talking about. You're literally just repeating headlines you see on Twitter. That's it. Media people, by the way.
Yeah, but it says that.
He didn't know about it yet.
I was hearing you out this whole time.
You were
He was
doing all
thrown
you
off
could
by
to say. No, this didn't
the
happen.
way that was worded, but they did apologize. Like they did apologize.
I don't know what they realized that by using certain political buzzwords to make sure that IRS policies weren't being violated, they were disproportionately harming conservative groups. So then they apologized because of a bunch of uproar.
Okay, I just want to
don't see that. So we got justice. Right?
Conservatives are just sick and tired of the gaslighting from the left that we're such victims. We're crazy. We're not actually being censored. Yes, we are, and it's been happening for years.
It's not even censored. It's being persecuted.
Targeted specifically.
This is what I mean. I don't know who was on stream earlier. Maybe it was yesterday. Where conservatives are simultaneously, they're able to do this over and over again. Like, we're the victims, we're the underdog, we're the victims, we're the underdog. Meanwhile, largest cable TV news show, largest presence on across almost every major social media platform, like huge presence among like all the alternative media sphere. Like, but they're the victims, they're the underdogs. Like always, constantly. It's so insane how they can inhabit both worlds at the same time.
There's not a whole lot.
Like Trump, I'm sure y'all thinking of, or what do you mean?
Yeah, like he was like impeached twice.
Trump. This has started happening since 2008. I remember I was bartending. I was a bartender, right? I had a lot of lives. Okay, I was bartending, and he won, right? And this girl that was like a party planner came up, and she was like in my face, Obama, right? Like, and I was in a community college.
What she looked like?
Stop it, Isabella. So what she said.
Jesus Christ. Okay, pretty sure like almost everybody supported Obama, but. Okay.
She said, "Oh, you salty crackers in here." So like that's what she said. So right, but she was in my face, right? But then I was walking through the halls of community college, and they were like, "He won," and like would literally come up like they were going to attack you just to scream that Obama won. Like it was like whatever. And since then, I have felt a shift to where it was like we can do whatever. They have a mandate to treat people who don't agree with us aggressively and like you're the scum of the earth. Like, I am tired of being called a bigot, a racist. I was this kid that was like, Mommy, we all bleed the same. Like, it doesn't matter, right? I was that girl. I was the person who's like, I don't care if gay people get married. No, I don't want gay people to adopt kids. I don't want them.
Just as a heads up, if you have to cite to things that you said as a kid to prove how not bigoted you are, that might be your problem, dude.
To be surrogates. I don't want single parents adopting kids either, but that's not the point. The point is that like, we didn't care about all these social issues that much. We didn't have any of that until we have been. I was that girl. I was the person who's like, I don't care if gay people get married. No, I don't want gay people to adopt kids. I don't want them to be surrogates. I don't want single parents adopting kids either, but that's not the point. The point is that like, we didn't care about all these social issues that much. We didn't have any of that until we have been beat down by the left. And I mean, I feel like we've been beat down.
Yes,
Okay,
I was.
so first of all, I'm sorry that people were treating you some type of way back then.
So sweet. You don't have to apologize to me.
I would love to show you how MAGA folks treat me. It's happening both ways.
Well,
Okay, but that's okay because you did it us first. It's always retribution. And since they've imagined that they've suffered infinitely, that gives them the moral justification to persecute infinitely. They can be as mean as they want, as cruel as they want, as heavy-handed with the government as they want, like whatever, because it's already been done to them, so.
Now it is, yeah, of course, but it wasn't like, I'm older than you. I'm like 40, right?
No.
It was not the same then.
Again, I'm sure there's all these examples, which I totally would love to show you how MAGA folks treat me. It's happening both ways.
Well, now it is, yeah, of course, but it wasn't like, I'm older than you. I'm like 40, right?
No.
It was not the same then.
Again, I'm sure there's all these examples, which I totally acknowledge, of on either side people being totally out of line. But the insane rhetoric about, as an example, the tool that the anti-gay marriage argument was for so long, the demonization of gay people. Now it's this tiny percent of the population, trans people are the biggest issue ever, and we're going to fear MAGA constantly.
It's not the biggest issue ever. Like, I don't think if you want to translate,
but my point is that for that, you're just expressing your view, right? No, that's not hateful. Or the stuff that I get on to Isabella for saying that is super hateful and going after people based on their identity, that is not hate or political attacks to you. But then whenever people respond and are upset with you for having that ideology, now it's, I'm being victimized.
I don't think we really care about that. But another thing I want to point out is this idea that you can't really be conservative out in the public. When Trump won the first time, I was in college, and they literally shut down all classes. All classes were shut down. There were major just like protests, like riots in this major college campus, University of Massachusetts, Amherst, very liberal. It's like that doesn't happen when a Democrat wins. So what does that signal to conservatives like me on campus? You need to shut up. Don't say that you support Trump. Stay inside.
And this is
remember, you guys literally tried to overturn the election because you were so ass-pained about it. That was a thing that literally happened, but
it means it doesn't happen when Democrats win.
I would much rather, even though I don't want to I didn't even hear what you said. You said at college there was riots?
Yes, there was riots, but they shut down all classes because Trump won.
Because of riots.
Mental health.
No, they had safe spaces.
Trying to riot, you said that doesn't happen when Democrats win, to block the certification of an election.
Jesus, we can't even, this is just it. This is going to be shouting over him the entire time, even though it's 1v3.
Would be a little bit more destructive than rioting.
Okay, let's talk about that.
You have that one individual instance. No, I don't want you to explain why. I want you to talk about another time that there were riots when a Democrat won.
So right-wing political violence, you can look it up, is more prevalent.
This is not true.
Google it.
All of the riots that happened during 2020, those were not right-wing riots. Those were left-wing violence.
Correct.
The people that were murdered by leftists, that was not right-wing violence. That was left-wing violence. The CEO that was just murdered the other day in New York was not because of right-wing violence.
Okay, what about the people? Like, what about Steve Scalise getting shot? Like, my boss was there.
Holy shit, dude. What a dog shit, piece of shit fucking platform. Oh my God. We need to have shows like this. It's going to be like me, Josiah, and P Scout. And we're going to drag like one conservative on it. And we're just going to fucking fire hose out 50 fucking stories. Oh my God. Not even like fact check. Even if we're wrong, I should just move on to the next one. Oh my God.
Specifically said, Steve Scalise, they specifically said this is for healthcare.
Rand Paul getting attacked on his neighbor.
I know. Probably when this gets uploaded, we'll know more about that. I haven't heard yet the political motivation.
I don't care what his political motivation is. There's some plenty other.
It's likely that it was an anti-capitalist type kind of.
What about the congresswoman that got literally shot in the fucking face? The Democrat lady, I forget her name. What about the guy that mailed pipe bombs to people? What about the guy that broke into Nancy Pelosi's house looking for her, saying that he wanted to hold her accountable? What about
thing because of the writing on the bullet casings that he had to deny.
So that would be horrible.
Right.
I mean, it's horrible no matter what the motivation was, but. The thing that y'all have a hard time getting your head around is the difference between these examples that get focused a lot on
availability.
Media.
Genuinely, why don't you just do this where you just bully them for 2 hours? Oh, because they'll never invite me on a show like this because they don't want somebody to fight back. Not that Luke can't. Luke is doing his best job to do it, but he's also probably agreed to be a certain level of cordialness. I would not be cordial with these people. This is gross. You know that Phil dude is afraid to debate you, by the way. He said he's not a debater. Yeah, nobody's a debater. When the odds are even, it's only when they're in a 5v1 environment that suddenly they have their debate skills that they've found.
And actual studies that study this to look
but the studies are like this. They're like, the studies are, okay, did this person ever say anything hateful about black people? And then all of a sudden he injures black people, then it's a hate crime. It's not the same.
Authorities go through a process to figure out what the motivation, obviously what the motive of a murder or an assault was. And if they have evidence that it was politically motivated, then it's classified, that then we categorize and we learn that, left-wing violence is far less prevalent.
Do you have any examples? Do you have any examples of, can you articulate what anyone means by right-wing violence? Like when you hear
Gretchen Whitmer plot, Gabby Giffords, the pipe bombing being mailed, January 6th stuff. I'm sure there are more examples.
when you hear the argument or the statistics saying, oh, it's right-wing violence, can you articulate what they mean by right-wing violence?
Motivated.
Not by
Jesus. So this fucking retard didn't even know the broad strokes of the stories that he brought up earlier. And now he's asking Beasley for the methodology of a study they cited. What were the criteria by which they select? Holy fuck, bro. I like that Luke's at least allowed to have his laptop here for this. Do you think that Luke is winning the optics game? I don't know. It's hard to evaluate. I haven't taken enough benzos to put myself in the conservative brain state. I feel like it probably looks good on their side so far because they've thrown out like 50 stories. But I mean, I think Luke is doing as good as he can.
By violence, can you articulate? Can you articulate what the right wing, what the motivation was that falls under right wing?
Yes, so when you're not going to like being associated with, for example, white supremacist attacks. Right, I agree.
Well, how frequently are white supremacist attacks
I'm assuming that's why you're bringing this up, is because you're going to dispute.
Like them either.
Okay, just listen if you're going to ask a question.
Sorry.
So I'm explaining that I agree. Whenever I start going through and explaining what the different instances of right-wing violence might be, it might be anti-government from a right-wing perspective. It might be racist-driven attacks. You're going to go, well, that's not right-wing. That's just crazy. But the same thing happens on the left. If it's anything that's left of center as an ideology, they categorize as a left-wing attack.
Do you think
like I don't associate with people who looted during Black Lives Matter? You know.
Okay, well, here's the question though.
But that doesn't dispute at all what I'm saying.
Do you think that the riots that were happening during Black Lives Matter, do you think those count as left-wing violence?
What about the protests? Why is it always just riots? Like,
yeah, the people who, yeah, of course.
Okay, so how many instances of right-wing violence?
Well, let me clarify before, though. People who got violent, who were doing it on behalf of, they felt like they were doing it to send a message about how stuff is messed up with police or something. Those would be categorized as such. A lot of people who were committing crimes, though, just knew there were going to be a lot of protests, and so they sort of took advantage of the moment. That happens every time there's unrest. People will go and loot, and they're not a part of the political ideology at all. But what?
How many?
Would you consider? Do you think that it's likely that the people that were looting were conservatives?
What?
I said, do you think it's
might be apolitical?
It's not about them being conservatives or liberals. It's just that they were looting. The people that were looting stores at that time period weren't like, oh, we're doing this from a leftist perspective because we're trying to send a message. They just want to steal shit.
Some people were taking advantage of the situation.
Someone's rioting over George Floyd's death.
If anyone was rioting,
wingers.
you're not even trying to hear what I'm saying. I'm admitting people who committed violence on behalf of a left-wing ideology then should be categorized as left-wing extremists who committed left-wing violence, which they will be, and that's still not as prevalent, not even close, to right-wing political.
My turn. My turn.
That's not my opinion. I'm just talking about the research on that.
You're talking about research. I want you to name for me 3 instances that you can think of, 3 separate instances of right-wing political violence.
Jesus Christ. Does he know them? I think I would go by the pipe bomb mailing dude was crazy that nobody talked about or cared about. The Pelosi thing is crazy. We have video of that. Gretchen Whitmer, and Gabby Giffords. Those are my 4. There's probably more. And January 6th is 5. Oh, maybe Charlottesville. Maybe a 6.
Okay.
3.
The Mark Kelly's wife.
Who's Mark Kelly?
The Arizona senator.
I mean, who that is?
Name. Yeah.
What happened to that?
And
that was when the shooting.
And then Paul Pelosi.
That was
January 6th. But
Paul Pelosi.
January.
There's a few examples. Actually, let's get to that because you think you're being really smug about.
Oh God, she's about to say some retarded shit. I can feel it. Oh, it's gonna get retarded. It's gonna be really retarded. It's gonna be some of the most retarded things ever.
Do you understand why it's bad to try to block the peaceful transfer of power?
Hold on. I'm smug about this because
you don't care about maintaining the core process.
I don't know anything about what I care about, so I don't know where you get off.
Your tone makes it very clear you don't care.
My tone comes from the fact that you continue bringing up January 6th over and over and over and over.
It's not just about that day. Would you like me to explain it to you?
Yes.
Whenever someone loses an election and doesn't have any overwhelming evidence or any evidence at all of outcome determinative voter fraud, and then justifies, and I can't wait for you to pull the thing that I know you're going to pull up, because every person thinks they're going to dispute what I'm saying by pulling it up, and I'll say it doesn't at all refute it. But then you go through multiple allegedly illegal schemes that now he's not going to be prosecuted for because he's becoming president, but to block the peaceful transfer of power. Just forget January 6th for a second. The fake elector scheme that she wanted to talk about is an example of him trying to get unlawful people who did sign forms saying we're the lawful electors, and then he was pressuring Mike Pence to accept those as the real electors so that Trump could stay president despite losing the election.
You're going through the details about the January 6th, the things that led up to January 6th, the illegal actions that led up to January 6th, as opposed to the political violence. So you're bringing up the bad.
No, right. So when you talk, why do you keep me? I'm explaining it's actually not just about the violence. The more consequential democratically thing is the illegal scheme or trying to get the Brad Raffensperger. Yeah,
this is what I want to talk about. Yeah. She's about to intellectually commit right-wing violence.
How many? So you're having a problem with Democrats not admitting the.
Oh my God, I don't think I'd be able to handle it. Fact check: did Democrats object to more states for 2016 than Republicans for 2020? It's first of all, objecting wasn't the issue. Number one, and number two. I'm pretty sure that not a single one of the Democratic objections went through because they couldn't find a matching senator for any of them. So I think the answer was basically 0 because to do the objections during the certification ceremony, according to the ECA, you have to have at least one senator and at least one House member in order to file an objection and then go back and recess for however much time to figure it out. And I don't think that a single instance of that happened in 2016.
Election, like Hillary Clinton did say that the election was stolen. She always said
Russia collusion, Russia.
Illegitimate, right? And then we had actual members of Congress.
Do you want to explain it, or can I just explain
Yeah,
now why that's not at all?
Why is it not the same?
I'm not bringing up even.
Oh my God, please, I think he knows. It sounds like he knows this talking point.
No, I think it was vile because they were doing it because of lies. I'm not bringing up the fact that senators objected or Congress people objected to the result. That actually is a power they have in Congress. I'm talking about fraudulent electors. The fact that that distinction is not.
Oh, sure. Okay. That's fair. That's a fair route to go to, too. He's granting her, though, even too much, because even this comparison wasn't good. But this is fine, too. This is a totally fine way to go to.
When they all understand
So
it.
semantics.
God, what a disgusting fucking piece of shit.
Semantics. So you're saying it's okay for Democrats to object to election results.
First, let me explain the electoral college.
She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Like she shouldn't even be here. Like imagine you're like a fucking master's student in some fucking quantum physics class, and you've got some fucking first grader in the back of the room like raising their hand to argue with the teacher over and over again. Like why are you even here? You don't even deserve to be a part of these conversations. You probably don't even know how the government functions. Why are you even talking?
To you. So you're talking about the certification of the electoral count.
Correct.
We got here because of political violence, not because of procedural.
Oh, what's up? It's dipshit. It's Captain. I'm too afraid to debate people unless the odds are like stacked in my favor. Good job on my own fucking show. On a show that's being hosted by my friend. Oh, to interject with some totally random fucking bullshit. Because why would he ever be allowed to talk to a person and respond to something without getting interrupted by some sub 80 IQ Neanderthal?
You're talking about the certification of the electoral count.
Correct.
We got here because of political violence, not because of procedural stuff.
That's not what you're talking about. Which one would you like me to address?
We got here because of political violence, and you moved it to procedure.
Because you multiple times have taken shots about my fixation with January 6th, which I'm fixated, so that's why I want to talk about it. And to your point, you're talking about whenever members of Congress, which is a part of their constitutional authority, it's bad to wield that authority when you don't have a basis to, but they do have the ability to object to the electoral count.
Their constituents on January 6th were asking their representatives to do that.
That's not
what that was.
Okay, and I haven't brought up once.
That's not what that was.
Members of Congress objecting.
No, but why do you think the people were there? The people were wanting their elected members to do that. They're asking them. That's why they're protesting.
So you're completely mixing up two completely different things altogether.
Yeah.
That is the electoral count being certified. I'm talking about a president getting people to assert themselves as the electors, the actual electors, not let's dispute the certification of the election.
This is in order to even none of these people at this table even know what an elector is. Luke is trying to explain this thing. That's what I mean also when you have to fight from behind sometimes. None of these people at this table even know what the elector is. That's why she can't comprehend what Luke is saying. Well, hold on. The electors, but they also contested those in Congress in 2016, right? They don't even know what an elector is. So it's so much ground to make up.
But let's get illegal electors counted as the electoral college. Please tell me that separation makes sense in your
That
mind.
makes sense, but
okay, that's what Trump tried to do.
That's not what he tried to do.
It is so overwhelmingly that he doesn't even deny it.
He's asking people. He said this was a fraudulent election. And
no, stop bringing up Congress. I'm not
saying that.
She doesn't know, though. She doesn't know what an elector is. She has no idea. So, of course, she has to bring up Congress.
Individuals who've been prosecuted in certain states for being fraudulent electors, they literally signed forms saying, I am the dutifully elected elector from the state of Wisconsin.
And he asked people to do that. That's what you're saying.
He got them.
Yeah. Oh, she doesn't even know. Of course she doesn't know. It's okay.
Where's the evidence?
And then what do you think?
The documents are all signed. There's literally signatures. We can see all the fake. It's okay.
Where's the evidence of that?
What do you think he wanted Mike Pence to do?
Mike Pence
Read
to do
two indictments. That's where the evidence is.
He wants him to assert his power like Congress and not certify the election.
That's not what he has the power to do. What? Do you think the vice president has the power to not certify the outcome of the election? Oh, do you think Kamala Harris has that power? Easy retort.
He has the ability to say
he was counting.
He didn't. He literally didn't.
The non-electors that weren't lawfully sent by the states.
Let me say.
Random people.
Do you know how many?
She doesn't even know what that means. She doesn't even know. But here she is, battling bravely, regardless. So much respect, Queen. Keep fighting, Queen. This is a meme. This is like a meme thing, right? Like, she has no clue what is even being spoken about right now. But she has like the gall, the bravery, the fearlessness to come up here and fight over it. She doesn't even know what the fuck. I am envious of this ability.
Do you know
it's crazy y'all are okay with that? Imagine that's what Biden started doing.
Wait a minute. Were you okay?
Understand?
Wait a minute.
Is that crazy?
I'm fascinated by.
Were you okay in 2016 when they didn't want to certify? Oh, I'm fat. And now here comes a snarky comment here from Professor Dipshit.
Do you know
it's crazy y'all are okay with that? Imagine that's what Biden started doing.
Wait a minute. Were you
understand?
Okay? Wait a minute.
Is that crazy?
I'm fascinated by the fact that this conversation has turned to January 6th.
Wait, were you okay?
I will talk about this every time until y'all admit trying to block the peaceful transfer of power is bad. Yes.
Will you admit that boarding up the wall
because that's one particular thing that you.
Also, you guys asked. Luke gave 3 examples of violence. That was the third one that he gave. You guys are the ones that brought the conversation only to this point. You could have started with example number 1.
We were talking about political violence, and now we've changed from political violence on the left versus the right.
The first example he gave was Mark Kelly's wife or something? I don't even know what violence he's referring to there. Oh, wait. That is Gabby Giffords. Why don't they have the same last name? What the fuck? Oh, okay. Nice.
To procedure about January 6th.
Yeah, procedure. Oh, okay. Let's just.
But you guys are the ones that made it here. Why not start with the first one?
Let's all take a breath together. First,
you cannot change the. You're
Let's take a breath together. Immediately interrupts after the first word. After the very first word that he says.
Procedure. Oh, okay. Let's all take a breath together. First,
you cannot change the. You're trying to deflect the fact that you went from. We were talking about violence, and you changed.
You are the one who
subject.
brought up January 6th when I alluded to that violence.
You're the one that brought up January 6th because she asked you for 3 options.
Yeah, that was the third one they gave, and then you guys wanted to make it about this.
And one of them was January 6th, and so we started talking about the violence on January 6th, and then you said, well, no, let's talk about the illegal actions of President Trump.
Yeah.
All right, wait,
that's changing the subject from political violence
I said,
procedure that was.
I'm gonna.
You know why though? Because you went. All you can think about January 6th. Sorry, I don't want to do yours. That's silly. And I went. And I was.
He has to do that because we know that the left-wing political violence is way more prevalent than right-wing.
That's why I stopped talking.
We have a peaceful transition of conversation to move on from that fact.
I know you were looking up earlier. Can you?
They really can't grant anything with regards to January 6th because it would only lead to a total disavowal of Trump. They have to know that, right? No. You're thinking way too strategically. Conservatives won't give in to anything. But remember, they shouldn't. They don't have to. They can get validated on every single batshit insane belief that they have because they have an entire apparatus now as part of the government and in part of the mainstream media and in the alternative media. They have an apparatus everywhere that would support those delusions. Why would you ever give in to any fact that's actually contradictory to something you believe? There's literally no incentive to and no reason to. And you can find infinite support from all parts of the country right now for whatever delusions you have.
Show them the research on political violence because y'all keep really having a difficult.
I want to see how they determine it. Anyway.
The 2 things that he mentioned before. Hold on a second.
But we can name 30. You can barely name 3.
Hold on.
Anyway.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. The 3 things that he mentioned, right? So there was the Mark Kelly's wife. I forget what her name was. Where she was shot, right? And then there was
Paul Pelosi.
Paul Pelosi.
Yep.
Both of those people. They were as much as he's going to say they were politically motivated. It's likely that they were not politically motivated in the same way.
Are you actually kidding?
I think both of them. I thought the people were, didn't they explicitly? The Paul Pelosi one was the guy was literally there to kidnap Paul Pelosi and hold her accountable. Gabby Giffords, what did the person, I thought that he also, didn't he give out an explicit? Jesus, 6 people got killed in the shooting. Damn, this is crazy to remember. 22-year-old man who was fixated on Giffords was arrested at the scene. Oh, damn. Paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, wait. This guy might have been an insane person then. Hold on. Glock 19s. Look at these. Extended mags. Why does he have some extended mag? Oh, probably because Glocks usually come with 2 mags, I think. Cheapo. He stopped to reload, but he dropped the loaded magazine from his pocket to the sidewalk. Should have had a belt with a magazine holder. If they're insane, but they went down a right-wing misinfo rabbit hole, does it still count as right-leaning political violence? Maybe this guy didn't give an explicitly political reason for this. Or it doesn't look like it, or I'm not seeing one.
In the same. Stop.
It's likely something different on this.
That they were not politically motivated in the same way.
Are you actually kidding?
In the same. Stop.
The guy literally said, "I need to make Nancy Pelosi answer for the stolen election." He literally said that.
Stop.
What do you think that
comes from?
Nancy
Pelosi one.
Paul Pelosi.
It says there's reasoning under the thing. You skipped it. Well, I saw the reasoning given there, but I don't know if that reasoning was. I don't know if I would say that was explicitly anti-right wing or anti-left wing or whatever. This here, he gave his view on terrorism, federal laws, and his belief that the government was brainwashing the citizenry with language. Is that explicitly right wing? I don't know. I would have to see more of the writings, I guess. If somebody has a link to him, you can man, we can check.
The in the same. Stop.
The guy literally said, "I need to make Nancy Pelosi answer for the stolen election." He literally said that.
Stop.
What do you think that comes from?
Stop.
Paul Pelosi, Paul Pelosi's attacker, and the other person. I believe they were in their he was in his underwear or something.
Oh, he's going to do the gay memes.
So they were both mentally ill people. If they were politically motivated, they were not politically active people that were involved in consistent consistent political activities. They were both wrong. They were both absolutely wrong, and they both did make remarks about politics. But when you say that,
you should they should literally say you know what the based You know what the based left-wing response is? It's like, oh, okay, we agree then like a trans shooter, we would never call that political violence from the left, right? Because all trans people are mentally ill then, right? That would be the based counter.
That the right is more responsible for political violence. That's ignoring things like all of the bombings in the 70s by the Weather Underground, right? The multiple times the 2 times in the 80s that Congress itself was bombed. The 2 times that Congress itself was bombed in the 80s. That Bill Clinton went and
let me know when I can respond.
Well, the point that I'm making is you're saying that, oh, it's political violence when you're dealing with individuals, right? That are, obviously they're bad, condemn it, and they did make remarks about politics. But that's not the same thing as these things don't rise to the level of an entire summer of political violence. The murders that have happened by people on the left.
Would you fight against misinformation if it was happening much more on the left than on the right, but it furthered all your goals and values? I literally do this all the time. What are you talking about?
Destroyed, like cities destroyed because who wants to move
Those
to a
are
city?
included in the studies I'm talking
But I
about.
also want to point out that violence is just way more accepted on the left, for example. And I put this clip as like the second link on the doc I sent you if we want to pull it up. Nick Fuentes has banned off so many things. He doesn't actually literally say like you should die and all these. He makes jokes and stuff. But Destiny was dead.
Oh fuck! I shouldn't even. Oh, Destiny drop. Fuck! I shouldn't have even granted this. That was my mistake. I shouldn't have granted. Don't grant anything. My bad. Oh, I don't know if I did grant this. This guy's not in his underwear. Paul might be in his underwear, but that's because he's literally at his fucking house at night.
Nick Fuentes has banned off so many things. He doesn't actually literally say like you should die.
Wait, what is Fuentes even banned off of right now besides YouTube? Did he get banned again off of Twitter? I forgot. Off of Elon's Twitter? Bruh.
He makes jokes and stuff, but Destiny was dead serious. He's still fine. He's still on every single platform because it's okay. You can call for literal.
I'm on every single platform. Bro, I've been banned from Twitter. What are you talking about? I'm not calling for anybody to die either.
Death as long as you're a left winger.
That's true.
Okay.
That's true.
Can I just have like a little bit of
Hassan is such a better example than me. You.
It's a little gap of time to quickly go through a couple.
Take it away, Luke.
Don't let anybody
First of all,
interrupt him.
I totally agree. Discussing that Destiny said that.
Yes.
Also, I would love to explain at some point my framework of random people online versus people in positions of power and the difference there. That I agree. Anyone across the political spectrum advocating for violence would be bad. To your point, I don't know how to. I don't really know where to go other than saying I've researched this over and over, and every time this is analyzed, it just is the case, even with the instances you're talking about, which I pose, that right-wing political violence is more prevalent. But then on why I focus so much on January 6th and the trying to block the peaceful transfer of power, you did reference you're obsessed with that, which is why I want to explain why I'm obsessed with it, because I don't think any policy issue matters if we don't all agree on our democratic process, and that's what Trump disputed. Trump actually thinks he should have just gotten a second term even though he lost the election. That's super anti-democratic. The illegal schemes that we're having a difficult time apparently understanding are the ones I'm pointing to justify that. And then is there anything else that I haven't addressed?
Holy shit, we got to speak a whole sentence.
What you said.
Let me just interject.
And then I would love to talk about the political rhetoric violence.
So let me just say something. So the data that you're talking about that you researched, can you be honest about what the time frame was? Because the time frame is between 1948 and 2022 that they were looking at it. So we're talking about political violence on the right. That it was Islamic extremists, then it was the right wing, and then it was the left wing, and that's over that broad span of time.
Oh wait, okay, never mind.
Right, it was Islamic extremists, then it was the right wing, and then searched. Can you be honest about what the time frame was? Because the time frame is between 1948 and 2022 that they were looking at it. So we're talking about political violence on the right. That it was Islamic extremists, then it was the right wing, and then it was the left wing, and that's over that broad span of time. That's not talking. They never broke it down into these recent years, right? Since like 2008 and above. Like if you look at the data, that's what they're looking at. It says it here. 2 years ago, team of researchers.
Why did you? What makes one time period more valid than another time period? Like maybe it should just be from 2023 to 2024, or maybe it should just be like you guys were the ones bringing up political violence of the Weather Underground from like the 70s. Like what?
All sorts of different time.
From 4 universities, examine court records and other data relating to 3,500 extremist active events in the U.S. between 1948 and 2022. And that's when it said that they were split into 3 groups, left wing, right wing, and related to Islamic extremism. And it said that the most extremist was the right wing, and then the left wing came in a distant third. And so when they're talking about like, oh, we have to be concerned about left wing political violence, they're talking about like over this like broad span.
What do you mean right wing political violence?
Right wing, right. Sorry, but they're talking about over this broad span of time. But if you look at it, like we can name the Summer of Love. There was a riot every whatever. Nobody talks about the church, right? And Trump having to go into a bunker like that. That's fine by the left. We can't talk about the.
You're not aware of that?
You don't know about.
I remember when he went to the bunker. Yeah.
Right when he went into the bunker and they were bombing like the building across from everybody.
They were bombing it.
Says it was St. John's Church, but it was like actually the building across the street that they did, right?
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
we're not talking about the shooting on.
I am talking about all those things.
Let me keep going. We're not talking about the shooting. Well, in general, I'm talking the left in general. Seems
it's just y'all's social media echo chamber is not going to.
See, look at the difference here in the media environments, right? It's kind of like the Palestinians and the Israelis, right? The Trumples will like fetishize every single piece of violence that they don't like, and they will obsess over it, and they'll talk about it, and it'll be on and on and on and on in their media environments. And then for like left wing people, they don't even know a lot of the things that the right have done because it doesn't even get covered as much. Like
contextualize the the stories you're talking about.
What context is needed that they're like burning down buildings?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Congressmen are getting assaulted left and right.
I'm just saying I don't really want to go off of like, and I oppose
it's
all
more
of
prevalent.
What happened?
Like it's more prevalent. Like you can't
in your social media.
No, not
in the real world.
That's why we have
in America.
research
This happened.
institutions, so we can figure out if it's just a vibe or if it's real.
Institutions that back up whatever they want to say. They can
why do you think they went back to 1948? Right? Why do you think they?
You're talking about one. Go find any other.
No, this is the one that everybody quotes. AP, right?
You think one institution has?
No. They use 4 institutions. This is what this is saying. So this is an AP article debunking that the Heritage Foundation leader was wrong to say that most of the violence is committed by the left, and they're all that their AP is citing over and over again are these studies, these 4 studies that they did. That's what the whole left wing media relies on. Is these?
It's not true. Okay.
Okay. Well then, find something that you pull it up. But like that's where the statistics come from.
This is the AP. The AP. You guys like the AP, right? Bro, kill me.
Analyzing these 3,500 instances of political violence. And so you have Chaz occupation, right? You have, like, we could just name them all off the top of our heads, but, you know, you name me 3 and the one was like barely anything, but like you can't name 15.
What about the BLM, the land management, the Bureau of Land Management standoff between the, I don't even fucking remember who that was involved in. Like, is this really the goal? Like, can you name 15? Like, I think there's more left-wing violence than right-wing violence. I think there's more right-wing violence. Oh, really? Name every violent right-winger. Like, fuck. Name all of them. Fuck.
Like I'm doing, right? Like it is that, and you can't.
Yeah, so this
were MAGA people
every night for months in a row.
Like literally, one Google. Don't get obsessed with this because it's just the first thing that popped up. This one is not any of the ones you referenced.
What's it
from the
relying?
National Institute of Justice, and this is since 1990. So this is much more recent, 1990 to 2020, wherever.
2020 what?
Maybe you could link it in the doc.
Yeah, I could send it. And it's the same thing. I don't know why it's. We can all just be like, hey, it happens. Right wing violence is more prevalent.
You say it's more prevalent.
It is.
We're denying that. We're disputing that.
Where?
So no.
The only thing.
Oh my gosh! It's welcome to social media. You're not going to be shown it because you don't want that.
No, you can't name it. You can't.
Okay, I'll give you more examples.
Please,
Since
I want you to
need
name
anecdotes so badly instead of just accepting data.
Because it happened?
Fine. So I can't give you the particular names of the shooters, but more often than not, when there's a politically motivated mass shooting, it's a right wing one. It's against.
That's not true.
What about the one at that Christian school, the trans activists?
Definitely, mass shootings are way more committed by the left.
I think a lot of people find this really
Like, this would be a great thing to say, like, oh, trans? That person's mentally ill. We can't count it.
interesting. The way that y'all's brains are working, because it's just going, well, what about this? I don't deny those happened. That's part of what's studied.
Our brains are overwhelmingly left wing.
You're saying you need examples, so I just gave you a lot of the ones that I know y'all covered on the show, I'm sure, that were right-wing politically motivated, that were racist, for example, would be calculated on the other. And then there are left-wing political violence.
Would you say that anything that's a racist killing is automatically
if it were
right-wing?
premised on a right-wing idea like white supremacy, please. This is why I'm saying this is the most.
I'm asking. I'm giving you.
I didn't know if you were about to say, oh, well, white supremacy is not right-wing.
I wasn't about to say anything at all.
Cool. Great. Well, then, yeah. If it's a right-wing version of racism, whereas if it were someone who was like a Palestinian advocate who then crossed over and was anti-Semitic, and that would be left-wing.
Right.
Okay.
We agree there.
Yeah. Oh, here, let me send. You don't want to send this? Who can I send this to?
You can just put it in the doc. If you're on it, I think we all have the same one, so we can all see that.
Beautiful. So, anything else on that? I know we have more to talk about.
God, we're all, I feel so bad because we're all jumping over each other to get at you. You're totally outnumbered, and I'm sympathetic for some reason.
No,
on the Pipple.
We have to give him some credit. Like he's pretty much doing a 3-on-1 debate, so it's.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Why don't we talk about that?
I don't like these comments anymore either. I don't like it when I get them. I don't like when other people get them. Don't give them credit for it. Why don't you respond to the arguments? Like, oh, at least this is like the next level of like it's such a good conversation.
Right.
Yes.
So the fact that the left has become.
Oh, wait. Can we pause before we go to that?
Yeah.
Super important. We have to make the distinction between like the leader of a movement versus random people in the movement, because when you divide the country into 2 sides, there's going to be lunatics on both sides. So Destiny's a good example of the stuff about him not caring if people died at rallies. Insane. But that's not the same as Biden saying that or Harris saying that. But Trump actually participated in the mocking of Paul Pelosi's attack. So there's a difference in Democrats in positions of power aren't going to mock examples of attacks against right-wing politicians, but right-wing politicians have been mocking.
That's a lie.
To that point.
She
mocked.
No, she had this
But she's
These
participating by saying
Maxine Waters quote the thing over the cabinet members, and they're saying that no, Maxine Waters said you should go and do this to every single Republican.
To go out.
I'd rather
I didn't like what you said that, by the way.
But also, but beyond that, Biden himself standing up and saying that MAGA Republicans are a threat to the very soul of our country, saying that the reason that he ran was because of the threat.
Not because of the people that were denying the election. He literally says that in the speech. It's just all.
Of white nationalism because of Charlottesville, saying that that Americans are garbage. These are 3 things.
He immediately walked that back.
It does. I don't care. I didn't ask if he walked it back.
Trump hasn't walked back calling people vermin and saying that they're the enemy from within.
I don't care. You made a remark about Trump, and I acknowledged it, and I didn't try to say that.
Biden apologized.
The point that I'm making is you can't say that your guy does this and say that Democrats don't when I just immediately listed off 3.
None of those examples were mocking political violence.
Mocking Donald Trump didn't mock Pelosi. It was his son did. His son did, but Donald Trump didn't.
Hold it up.
Hold on.
Just look up Trump, Paul Pelosi, like on Twitter.
I mocked it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, I did. I did feel bad for him. I did feel bad for him, but like, no. I didn't mock that. I just mocked that. That's not what. That was actually not the part that I mocked. I mocked that she's like for no borders and she has this like insane security system and a wall built around her house and somehow.
This is like one of the dumbest fucking. This is one of the dumbest arguments that conservatives do. This idea of like, oh, you're for open borders? Well, then why do you have a wall around your house? Why do you have a fence? Like, oh, you think it's okay when people have sex? Then why won't you let anybody fuck your eye socket at every single point in your life? Like, it's like the most fucking retarded. It's the dumbest possible fucking thing. Like, oh, you're in favor of peanut butter being legal? Why won't you eat peanut butter even if you're allergic to it? Like, wow, hypocrite. Like, it's like the most brain dead fucking thing in the universe. Holy shit. Oh, you're pro taxes? Why can't I break into your house and steal all your fucking money? Oh, you're like...
How magically this guy got in. That's the part I was mocking.
So the
left borders, and she has this like insane security system and a wall built around her house, and somehow magically this guy got in. That's the part I was mocking.
He broke in.
So the left does similar things. If you want to say that Trump does bad things, I can absolutely agree with that. I'm not a Trump guy. Like, I voted for Trump, but I'm not like a MAGA guy. I didn't vote for Trump in 2020. But to say that it's only one side, which is what it strongly feels like you're implying, I would take issue with that. And that's the reason.
He never said it was only one side. He just said it happens more on the right than the left. He's never said it's only one side ever. I don't think I ever heard Luke make that claim. But okay, little gup.
I push back on it because it's not that only.
Let me clarify then, definitely not just one side. That's why I'm saying what we could discuss until we're blue in the face, the examples of extreme people on both sides, which is definitely prevalent, because it's difficult to know what's relevant within a really vast social media ecosystem. I like to focus on people in positions of power. So when I compare Biden and Trump, I don't see the equivalency in the way they treat political parties.
Okay, so let's
watch this real quick.
But that's all I want to say about that. We can move on.
Calum, this is the last one. Oh wait, will the link still click? Yeah.
Well, the clip you can
Press
see.
always asks.
Yeah.
But just it's real quick. I think this is the right one.
What are you doing here?
I'm gonna show him something because he said leaders don't do
Biden clips, but
it's not Biden. It's not Biden. It's everybody. No.
Oh, is it a montage?
Yeah.
I think I just...
A montage. Thank God. Yes. Thank God. Give me the montage.
Don't I wish I were debating him? No, I wish we were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
Okay, keep going.
I said no. I said.
Oh wait, this is. I don't want to.
And the scary music too. And it's literally from Donald Trump's YouTube channel.
Biden, but I think there's Maxine's on here now. Hillary's on here. Yeah, they're all.
There aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
That you cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell
them. So I think the point. I haven't heard her say.
Arrest in the streets for as long as there's unrest in our lives. Enemies of the state.
Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Insane.
Please get up in the face of some Congress people.
But I think this. Kellen, I think this. I think we made the point's been made.
Yeah, but it is what I'm saying.
But they're your elected leaders saying.
Okay. Was Democrat leaders don't call for violence. It's only Republicans.
Damn, Luke got destroyed. Get absolutely obliviated, Luke. What were you thinking, Luke? Trying to fight against a Trump campaign highlight reel.
Point proven wrong.
Yeah, I do want to move on. I do want to move because
now let's move on. Oh my God.
I think that the point has been made that both sides do it, and it's something that we have to condemn. But so I think I want to talk about the fact that the left is now seems to be more open to discussing politics in general. And I think it's since the election of Donald Trump. For a long time, it was don't engage, don't give them. If you engage with them, they'll don't platform them.
Right.
You're going to give them credibility, and so I want to know your thoughts on that. Do you believe that there is a change, or do you think that this is kind of something that the left has always done, and that we are misrepresenting or misunderstanding reality?
Definitely there's an issue. I don't want to overgeneralize. There's always been people on the left who will engage, but I totally agree there's been a deficit of that. And one of the things that infuriates me about the feedback we've received to our show, The Grudge, you can find it on Luke Beasley on the channel, that Isabel and I are doing, is a lot of people, if you get upset at something I'm saying or she's saying, understandable, I'm constantly upset at what she's saying.
He cries a lot.
A lot of the feedback is the fact that we're even talking, and it's, why are you
That's from your side. Now our side will be, from our side it'll be like, oh, wow, he came on at least, thankfully he came on. They don't.
No, your side cries about it too. Pretty sure I can go and look at like the last 3 Piers videos, and all of them are like, why do you even invite Destiny? Why do you invite this guy on? I don't want to. Now that I'm not being nice to people. Oh, Francesca's the one that they hated on this show.
They don't discourage us from talking to the left.
Okay, and it's definitely an issue with my side that I'm addressing here, because I engage with them more often. And for a long time, especially with Trump now winning the second time, I don't know how you make the argument.
The dumbest thing is there's been absolutely no discussion of policy. How do we improve healthcare system? How do we regulate AI? Should we abolish the SALT tax? It's just arguing about their experience on social media. Yeah, but I mean, they're not very policy-driven people. Did they delete them? Every single comment was them mad that they invited you. Maybe the comments changed after day one. That was like the whole list of comments, but maybe they changed after a couple of days. Yeah.
If we ignore the ideology, it goes away. Insane. So that's actually really upsetting me. My hope is that more people will do this because, my belief is that we have the facts on our side. So why not bring it out there? And then the idea that you support an ideology by shining light on it. I get that there are certain things you want to be mindful about debating. Like if you're not a doctor, you're not a professional and you're not good at debating, but you just throw yourself into a vaccine debate, but you're not ready for someone who's practiced all the anti-vax talking points, maybe it won't come off right, even if you have the facts on your side. But if you do feel comfortable speaking with people at least, I don't know why people make the don't platform argument. That's strange.
Yeah, my thing is that I actually think that you're like, if you're worried about right-wing extremism, I feel like the left actually made people more extreme by isolating them. So I feel like I have shifted from like a more libertarian mindset to a very far right ideology. Like
we know, we can tell.
And that has been within the last 5-10 years, right? Like 5 years, right? 5-6 years. I've definitely made a hard right-wing turn. And I really feel like that is because I like that the left radicalized me.
How is it? What the fuck? Bro, it's like, it's the left is literally the fault for everything. Like, listen how fucking insane this is. The left is the reason why you're the farthest right you've ever been. How do these people have no agency over their own lives or no responsibility over their own lives or no, like...
And I feel like I would even say that I'm slightly radicalized, and it's because we were demonized, ostracized. Don't talk to them. Don't platform them. Don't whatever. Like I was saying earlier on, and if you stop having these conversations with people, you will radicalize the other side. That's why even as much as I want to like torment the left right now, which I do, like I don't ever want to stop these conversations because I don't think they're productive, and I don't think we're ever going to meet anywhere.
Where you're shouting, where you're screaming at him 3v1 for 52 minutes. Yeah, don't stop these valuable conversations.
To like make this country like at least a little more sane.
Yeah, and even separate from. Morally or intellectually, just strategically, one of the things that I was reading was that one of the reasons Harris didn't do an interview with Joe Rogan was she was progressive staffers of hers were afraid of progressive backlash to talking with him. And there's this whole, one of my friends calls it the Brosphere podcast arena that we just haven't entered at all, in part because we have a fear of, I guess, of engaging with certain people, and then people go, why are you talking to them? You're normalizing them, which is like their platform is bigger than most people.
The funny thing is that like they were lefty people, like Rogan.
Yeah.
Like Rogan was
Bernie.
We lost Rogan.
Yeah, you did.
You can look at the Trump administration, and all of the people that everybody was most excited about used to be Democrats. RFK, Elon Musk,
Tulsi Gabbard,
Donald Trump. These are all people that in the aughts were Democrats.
Right.
Normal Democrats, like establishment Democrats.
And they've been, run out of the Democrat Party.
By the progressives.
Yeah, by the progressives. That's why I asked earlier, before I was like, you consider yourself a Democrat, you consider yourself a progressive, because I think that there is a distinction in the Democrat Party, and there's probably going to be some kind of serious civil war in the Democrat Party. And I think that people that
normalizing them, which is like their platform is bigger than most people.
The funny thing is that like they were lefty people, like Rogan.
Yeah.
Like Rogan was
Bernie.
We lost Rogan.
Yeah, you did.
You can look at the Trump administration.
Rogan was never hard left. He was like minorly socially left on things like fucking weed and not hating gay people. Somehow we brainwashed an entire generation of people to think that they were strong Democrats because they were like okay with gays and they wanted to smoke weed. Like how the fuck did this happen?
And all of the people that everybody was most excited about used to be Democrats. RFK, Elon Musk,
Tulsi Gabbard,
Donald Trump. These are all people that in the aughts were Democrats.
Right.
Normal Democrats, like establishment Democrats.
And they've been, run out of the Democrat Party.
By the progressives.
Yeah, by the progressives. That's why I asked earlier.
No one has run anybody out. By the progressives ran out Joe Rogan. It's more like Joe Rogan went and fought the progressives over and over and over again and then decided to leave the entire left because he got ass paid over it. Like what? No one cares. Like the progressives fight with the Democrat. No one cares about these people. They're kids at school. Fuck them.
Before I was like, you consider yourself a Democrat, you consider yourself a progressive, because I think that there is a distinction in the Democrat Party, and there's probably going to be some kind of serious civil war in the Democrat Party. And I think that people that, like yourself, that will go to other outlets and present your views to other people to listen to and actually debate the ideas. I think that
you should ask him, what are the right-wingers that go on left-wing shows to debate their ideas? Can you give one example?
Who are likely going to win? I think that the progressives that are like, don't go and engage at all, I think that they're going to become fewer and fewer. At least that's my hope. So kudos to you for
myself with the distinction too. I just want to make, in case people don't know my ideology, is like on a lot of economic policy, a lot of policies. I'm really progressive the way we used to use that term. Now it's associated with something in some cases that is a little.
See, and then you have to play this game, and I feel like I played this game too. It's not good. Now you have to play this game. It's like, okay, well, hold on, listen. Like I know that like I agree, progressives suck shit and Democrats suck shit and everybody else suck shit, but just not me. I don't suck shit, but these guys also. Like it feels like you're playing the same game. Or no, hopefully not. Hopefully I tried to say that Democrats on average don't believe. No, because I would make the argument that you're talking about progressives who are like an extremely small minority of the Democratic Party. No, I think I did make that distinction. Never mind.
Well, icky. Like, I don't think it's a progressive view to think you shouldn't go engage with other ideologies, but maybe some of the people who...
Yeah, people we would consider that a left-wing progressive.
That's whack. Because my experience too is I feel like, to your point, I've made people less extreme by just talking with them in my personal life. Now, this will be a little bit more debatey, which sometimes it's harder to make progress, but in longer form, more passive discussions, people are open to hearing, unless, like you said, they feel isolated.
I feel like if I walk into a place and I know it's like left-wing people, I actually feel like they hate me. Like they hate me. Yeah. Even my neighbors, like my neighbors hang like a gay pride trans flag outside their house, right? They know I'm super conservative, right? They don't say hi to me. I say, hi, how are you? Nothing, right? Like I feel.
They should. You're hateable, and you make yourself hateable by the things that you say. And Republicans have done this from before Donald Trump. Like you can't realistically say shit over and over again. Like you're trying to brainwash our kids, and you want drag queens to go and fuck little kids, and you guys are the party of the destroying America and hating the troops and wanting to kill cops and blah blah. And like, why do you hate me so much for my political views? Like, what do you mean? You literally treat me like I'm a fucking monster. Your view of what an average Democrat is fucking insanely unhinged. Why would you be surprised that I don't like you very much? Right? The only difference is the reason why you don't hate the Democrats is because you don't actually think those things. It's just a fucking game to you. It's just like a performance. Like you guys say that shit knowing that you're fucking lying and knowing that you're being facetious, which is why Republicans will say a thing about Democrats, but they never actually act that way because they know that it's all fucking bullshit and lies at the end of the fucking day.
The hatred coming from them more than so now I hang a straight pride flag up, right? So like, fine, I wasn't going to go there, right? But now,
because I've been bullied so much, now my political opinions are gonna.
That you treat a response, right? Like I feel like I'm constantly responding to how I've been treated. Like
you're literally describing yourself as a reactionary. Like Jesus,
very reactive thing.
It's so interesting because that's how I think most people on the left feel.
Really? See, I don't even want my husband wearing a MAGA hat in a restaurant because I don't want someone spitting in my food. Right. I literally have that fear.
And I know that people were walking around with their Biden and their Kamala hats on, but they think everybody else thinks like them and like worthy.
I totally admit I don't go outside as much. Are there a lot of people walking around with Biden and Kamala hats on? Was that a thing? Did this happen in places? Did Kamala even sell hats? Like, I'm sure maybe they're out there somewhere.
The extreme minority here,
and they have the moral high ground. They think so. They're so right. You know,
right,
like
they think it's like these random weird. They're like we're not the majority. Like they feel like they have the ability to act like that. Like there were people. I remember so many of us being afraid to wear like a MAGA hat around, right, or a shirt supporting Trump. But when it was Kamala Harris, I mean, they had masks on that said Biden Harris, right? It was like that was more socially acceptable. You didn't feel like walking into a thing if you had a political shirt on the left that anybody would do anything to your food, that you would get kicked out. I mean, we have felt like that.
I think it depends on where you are. A lot of conservatives like to live in really liberal areas.
I don't like to live. I'm trying to leave.
Yeah, that's where you are. But and so then that can happen. But like when I've gone to really conservative areas, I feel uncomfortable if I were wearing something.
But I do think,
which the name is Kamala, by the way.
Oh God,
Swallow. But to his point, I do think that the tides are changing. Like even if you saw after the election, AOC posted an Instagram story and she said, "Hey, like to my voters who voted for me and also Trump, why? I genuinely want to know why you did that."
And that did happen.
Which is not the case in the past. Like before, it'd be like, I don't know if she would say you're disgusting people, but you know, why would you do that? But it's interesting that she's putting that on her platform. Then you even see Cenk, or as I like to call him, Chunky Yogurt, and Anna Kasparian. Now they're kind of warming up to the idea.
And it's been warming up.
Right, and their audience is starting to turn on them. And it's very interesting. And then also Joe Scarborough on Morning Joe, him and his wife was calling Trump Hitler for years, and then Trump wins and they go have dinner. But if he's really Hitler, wouldn't you not feel safe having dinner with him at his house? But
Hitler.
Vance said that he could be America's next Hitler, and he agreed to be his VP. So.
And it's historical references about rhetoric because we should learn from history, not to make.
The liberals love to use a lot of words.
The whole thing about everyone called him Hitler. It's like, guys, chill. He obviously exhibits fascistic tendencies. Can we just acknowledge it?
He doesn't though.
All right, I don't know what trying to.
He's more Democrat than I'd want him to be. He's right. Yeah. He's not. He didn't.
What?
I think that is something that you hear a lot on the right. Is the right says, please let Trump be the authoritarian that the Democrats think that he is.
What did you say before?
Oh, remember when I said before that I said this maybe years ago even, when I was like, if you could describe fascism without using the word fascism to conservatives, most of them would probably be okay with it. You kind of gave that away a little bit right there, but okay.
I can't speak for everyone. People have gone too far. Like I know people call him Orange Hitler and stuff. Like I've never engaged with that, but I do point to he literally said on True Social that we should terminate the Constitution.
Okay, this has been. We just went over this with Cenk. Like it was just we did
a massive fraud of this type of magnitude allows for the termination.
But that's not. Nope, they broke it down.
Articles.
You guys read it one way.
This is borderline.
We'll say we're not going to do this because.
But my point is, okay, then how do you justify your?
We can't even talk about that? Oh, okay, my bad. So we can't use that as an example. We can talk endlessly about whatever examples you want to bring up, or watch literally a fucking montage on Donald Trump's channel, but we can't talk about that. Okay, gotcha. All right. We can't talk about Trump's own words that he himself chose to put on Truth Social. Yeah.
How do you justify literally, here's the quote, the government should come down hard on them, and the them that he was talking about in the post was MSNBC. That's fascist stuff.
I don't want the conversation to continue to be brought to Donald Trump and stuff.
God forbid we talk about the most relevant person in politics.
There are topics that we are going to try to stay to, and when we initially started this was about Gen Z, this particular bit.
I'm explaining why Gen Z.
Okay, wait. The only reason why I don't
support Trump.
That's not what we're talking about, though. Why do you think Gen Z has actually moved right?
Cenk, and just so you know, I'm not trying to like avoid that topic. Cenk and Tim just went over that like 2 days ago. And it was like a 30-minute thing, so I just don't want to, our audience, I don't want to like break that all down again and go through the arguments, but they already hashed it out. So like, I'll send you the clip later. And if anybody wants to watch
I don't know if Cenk was able to do it justice. I didn't see the clip, but it's ridiculous.
Cenk did it justice.
It's ridiculous for how to defend
happens is there's a different reading both ways of it.
Okay, but there's all the examples of him saying the press are criminals and stuff like that. It's just that is.
So if this is the case,
I'm trying to move on. I just have to finish the point you said. You want me to move on about to go to the thing you asked about, which was you were talking about. I always, like, my whole life I have a bunch of Trump supporters in my family and everything, so I'm always listening to the other side and trying to figure out where they're coming from. I am curious, as a little bit of a hypocrisy check. One of the things that's weird is, like, Trump didn't even get a majority. He got a plurality. He got under 50%. Yeah. So like the majority voted against Trump in that sense, and he's still legitimate president. All of that, but. In that
it has to be like win the popular vote. Now, I just want to make that distinction.
He won the popular vote. He won an electoral landslide. He won. Okay, for sure. But I'm saying I would love to go, all right, someone wins. I'm going to think about not changing my principles if I believe them to be correct because someone won. I can think someone incorrectly won, which I do in this case. But I'm, as we do constantly, trying to figure out what the other side is thinking. Okay, but y'all didn't apply that when Biden won by way more of the popular vote, right? Like, why didn't y'all go, what should we resonate with what he said?
Bro, where was the reflection? Yeah, where was the introspection after? Yeah, well, they don't have to introspect because remember, the election was stolen. That's the only reason. They don't have to introspect. Well, we know what we have to introspect on. We just need COVID not to happen because the mail-in ballots were all rigged and fraudulent.
Tell you why, because I was in Philadelphia, right? And I actually am an elected committee person in Philadelphia, right? And my mom's a judge of elections. So I was actually supposed to be doing those elections. And they were literally putting cardboard up on the wall so people could not watch them count the vote, right? Which is the first.
This is like disgusting. God, fuck, I hate these people. Like, you're not even like this is so gross. This is so gross. This is why it's worth still talking about it too. These people have like reprogrammed reality. Like, this is literally Israel-Palestine, right? Two groups of people that will never come to an agreement on terms because they have completely separate understandings of history. This is just insanity. It's insanity. And she's about to say what I just like kind of jokingly, I didn't joke, I knew she was going to say this. It's just going to be like, oh, well, the reason why we didn't have to introspect for 20 minutes is because the election was rigged. Duh.
And they were literally putting cardboard up on the wall so people could not watch them count the vote, right?
Which is the first in history. People can always watch.
No, but I'm just saying to you.
You bring up things and then it's I need to explain why you're saying that and why it's wrong. But then
but we had pipes burst, we had the little jump and stuff. And we had
pipes burst is a lie. That's a bullshit story.
We had shifts too.
I need to explain why you're saying that and why it's wrong. But then
but we had pipes burst, we had the little jump and stuff.
The little jump and stuff. Yeah, the votes changed once the mail-in ballots started to be counted. Everybody knew that was going to happen. Donald Trump said they were going to be rigged for a year. Of course, like, Republicans didn't vote by mail-in as much, and they also didn't give a fuck about distancing or any of the health stuff on the day of. So, like, no shit. But it's like, look at, like, offhandedly just throwing out, like, just these rando little conspiracies, just offhandedly throwing them out, that she's been fed by Donald Trump, right? The president who lied about the outcome of the election, and then tried to coup the government when it didn't, like, work. And like, it's just, yeah, she just lie. And Luke has to, like, spend so much time explaining and fighting over every single one of these little points. She just throw it out. But the audience, it's all like member berries for the audience. Like, oh yeah, I remember that conspiracy. Oh yeah, I remember that conspiracy. Oh yeah. And like, is anybody's mind even being changed by Luke arguing against it? They don't even have to look this stuff up and reconcile with the fact they're fucking wrong about it. Like,
and we had shifts to the electoral process that were different, that were done judicially, but it was shifts that were done that were not whatever. We had misinformation running through favoring the Democrats.
Always.
In
really?
that, like, with the Russia stuff, with the
Hunter Biden,
all that, right? So,
oh my God.
There were lots of things where Republicans, and you can say they were valid or not, they felt that in their hearts, right, from all this stuff that we see going on, that it wasn't like, people now say, like, it wasn't a fair election because the media, right? And I think that's kind of a cop out. I have seen, as somebody who has been involved in the electoral process for a long time, I have always seen multiple instances of voter fraud happening, right? And I have seen it. I had some guy that came in, he said, like, with this thing, he got dropped off in Philly at, like, right across from Head House Square, and he said he lived on 13 Delancey Street. Well, my mom lives at 205. That freaking house didn't exist, right? And he's got this signed little piece of paper, and he's saying he wants to vote. You're not this person. There is no house there. You can't say you live there when that house number doesn't even exist, right? And they let him vote, right? And we were mad about it. And then you have instances of, like, I don't think that you know this, but in Delaware County, outside of Philadelphia, they actually have on tape saying that there was an investigation. The investigation is still ongoing. They haven't settled it. Where these people were like, we're not going to show them what they did. There's all this undercover footage of them. Actually, the guy is admitting to lying and manipulating the votes in Delaware County. Like, it's still.
They still think that they're going to find evidence of voter fraud. Like, bro, come on. Enough to change. Like, come the fuck on. Jesus Christ.
Ongoing, like, court case today that they're dealing with. It's not been shut out yet. So especially in areas like that where I live, where there's multiple instances of these things.
Just this one area and these couple areas. And the problem too is when it takes years to sort these things
but
out.
Not even that. It takes 7 votes at every precinct. Okay, like in Philadelphia, to change the outcome of an election. 7 votes in each precinct.
I don't even know what that means. Was the margin 7 votes off in each precinct, or what is that? Or 14 votes off?
But when we total these numbers up, people are like, "Oh, it's hundreds of thousands of votes," and this and that. Like, when you really break the numbers down, it's a small number of votes in each precinct that flips that thing. So yeah, there were ways, like, there wasn't standing. There was reasons that these weren't taken up in court. So there people really did feel like the election was stolen and there was nothing we could do about it. It was like,
yeah, they felt that way because fucking retards like you were complicit in spreading the lies about it. Like, do you see what I'm saying? They manufacture their own feelings, and then when they can't find evidence to support the manufacturing of those feelings earlier, they'll say, but the issue is that we even had those feelings in the first place, not realizing it's because you caused it. It's your problem. It's like a cat chasing its tail for 3 hours and complaining at the end that there wasn't a real predator, and now they're out of energy, and now they are, they feel sick because they've been running around all day, and then like trying to blame it on somebody else. Like, bro, you're chasing your own fucking tail. The fuck are you talking about? Like, there was never evidence for any of this shit to begin with.
Out of our hands. Why did I even start rambling on about this in the first place? What were we talking about right before that?
Oh, why y'all?
Because you're an insane person. Because you're a psychotic, delusional individual who's bought into a fucking cult. It's turned you all psychotic and insane.
Do introspection, but you think we should?
No, I definitely always think.
Oh yeah, wait. Oh yeah, this is about introspecting, and then she went off on why actually they didn't need to introspect at all because it was all voter fraud.
About this in the first place. What were we talking about right before that?
Oh, why y'all won't do introspection, but you think we should?
No, I definitely always think. I am very introspective. I criticize Trump all the time.
Oh, okay.
Would you consider Donald Trump? Would you consider the election of Donald Trump an introspection? Considering the fact that like most of the conservatives before Donald Trump had been what you would consider, establishment conservatives, would you consider that the election of Donald Trump might have been an introspection? Maybe the right said, hey, it's not working for us to vote for these people like Mitt Romney or like John McCain.
Oh, I mean,
well, but it didn't work in 2020. You lost. So clearly there was no introspection.
Trump was more extreme. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'll never do introspection. I'm saying that I keep hearing this. Luke, you must be wrong. You must admit that we must be right about things because Trump won the popular vote.
I don't say that.
I wouldn't say that.
There's like a feeling. I was responding to one of you making some point about that. My point is that if...
Are we going to pretend like that's not what the entire left media is being told to do? Wait.
I keep hearing this. Luke, you must be wrong. You must admit that we must be right about things because Trump won the popular vote.
I don't say that.
I wouldn't say that.
There's like a feeling... I was responding to one of you making some point about that. My point is that if Biden won by way more, which he did, not electorally, but popular vote, it wasn't like y'all went, what should we resonate with liberals about now that they've so overwhelmingly won?
Because it didn't feel legitimate. It felt
right, but I'm going to address that because you went,
like she's literally saying it. Like, yeah, she's admitting it. We didn't introspect because we feel like the election was stolen. Okay, cool.
I even sat back to really give you the space to do that. That's because Trump was a crybaby. He stoked a lot of feelings. I'm happy that you would use that word because it was feelings. And then even his own investigators tried to find the outcome determinative voter fraud. And to your point about these different anecdotes, in every election, always in a country this size, you're going to have specific cases of people engaging in fraud. Right. I could do the same thing. I could go find, and I've seen the stories of
we
MAGA
just arrested somebody in Pennsylvania for that.
Of MAGA folks engaging in voter fraud. I could pretend like that's representative of a bigger problem than it is. I could not cite the actual studies that prove it's not. I could not cite the actual court cases or the investigations done by...
No, I can cite those things too. I'm saying that there was a bunch of these.
I'm going to finish this.
Fine, go ahead.
And so... the reason those cases were hyperfixated on, even though they weren't representative of a big problem, even Trump's own administration officials were like, we looked into it for him. We're trying to find the fraud. It's just not there. In any outcome determinative way. And so then
now that it's not there, it's hard. They can't prove it.
No, there was no evidence of it. Not even evidence to start good investigations.
Yeah, let him finish his thing. Okay.
The reason why people also don't feel like it was right that Trump won, but we just don't internalize that by claiming it was all rigged.
About 2016, Russia collusion.
Okay, so let me just explain something.
Like, the funny thing is that Trump did actually try to rig the election in 2020. And even in 2024, Democrats accepted the outcome, even though Trump actually did try to rig the election.
Let me just show you something. Just one thing. All right, so
I have to explain that to you.
Ed, when there's mail-in ballots, right? We had this mass new mail-in ballot campaign, right? Have you ever done a mail-in ballot?
Oh my God.
No matter what you say, I can tell you my response.
Okay,
so if you can already tell your response, it doesn't matter what you're saying.
Because there's nothing that you guys are going to say that's original or new. You're a fucking cult. There's nothing new or creative or intelligent or insightful or introspective or reasonable or rational or logical they're going to say. It's just going to be random fucking, and they don't even have to signature verify or, what could you possibly, have you ever filled out a mail-in ballot before? They send it out without doing any, without asking first if you wanted one. Anybody could fill it out for you and mail it back in. They didn't do signature verification, chain of custody. Maybe it'll be a brand new conspiracy. Who knows? 5, 10 years later, however fuck. Maybe it'll be a brand new conspiracy. Let's find out. Okay, what is it?
These conversations hundreds of times already.
What am I going to say that? I'm talking about the sorting process, right? Have you ever done a mail-in ballot?
Have I done? No, I haven't.
Okay, so here's how it works.
Is she going to do the chain of custody argument?
Because I used to live in D.C., but I was still voting in Pennsylvania because of the...
well, then Trump's...
Once you open the ballot and you take it out, then you removed it from the envelope and you can no longer do a real audit on the signature verification anymore. I don't know if this was...
Election wasn't legitimate either because there's mail-in votes.
No. Like, there wasn't the same amount. Clearly, there's apparently 7 million votes missing now. So...
Not missing. It's the...
No, that's not true. Missing now because less people voted. That means it's missing. Again, she just vomits out just verbal diarrhea, a random conspiracy, and then just tries to run through it real quick. Like, oh my God.
Alt's rhetoric worked on convincing people the Biden administration was worse than it was when actually talking about it was really successful.
When you do a mail-in ballot, right, there's an inside ballot, right, that's separate, and there's an outside ballot, right, that has your name and you sign it, right, because it's supposed to be a secret ballot. So when you mail it in, right, and they go to count the votes, They separate them.
Yep.
They put the counted ones in here.
It's a chain of custody argument. Bro, you guys have had the same fucking, are you like boofing ivermectin in between these shitty fucking takes? Like, it's all the same complaint. Sorry, or maybe she'll say something different. I don't know.
And they put the mail in with the signature here so you can identify who's who, okay? Once you do that process, it doesn't matter how you recount them.
Yeah, you can't do the audit. Chain of custody.
Forever separate.
Say chain of custody. Say chain of custody or whatever. Isn't that what they say, right? It's chain of, isn't that this is the...
So you don't know, right? There's no way to, because even now you can't go look up, I can't even go look up if my vote was registered as a right-wing vote or a left-wing vote. So now you have these separate ballots, right? Once you separate them, even if people just take ballots and stick them in the separate ballot or the way that they come in or whatever, there's no way, even if you do a recount, that's just the counting process, but there's no way once the mail-in ballots are separated like that to determine if they were legitimate ballots. It's not possible once the separation process happens. And there's no identifiable information on that ballot itself. So so when you have this mass ballot campaign, right, and we did extra mail-in ballots, if you look at the difference, right, there's a swarm of them. We do have that very statistical odd jump. You have everybody seen the graph, right? But there's no way to go back.
It's literally not odd. Literally every single person knew that this was going to happen. Even Trump in his own campaign staff, Bernie Sanders literally called it out. Every single person knew that this was going to happen. Like,
I can check that. I said from the beginning, people were like, hold out hope. They're doing it. I said, there's no way to prove it. I said, everybody just accept. This is what I said. I did an Instagram post on it. Just accept that Biden is the president. And if you want to do a show of force, go to his inauguration with your MAGA hat on. Like, that's literally what I said.
Yeah.
People said,
there clearly are ways to verify, which is why we catch people doing voter fraud through mail-in votes. But aside from that, I don't know if you believe that. We've just gone through it so many times. And it's more than just recounts, because I know what you're saying about that. But the way that we prosecute people, which we're always prosecuting some people for voter fraud because there's some.
Yeah, but they're usually things like they watch them drop off multiple ballots at a location.
I want to address one of the things you said, though.
That was also bullshit lies. Those lies were so bad that spawned from 2000 Mules. I think that the publisher themselves stopped publishing the film. And I think that... I think Dinesh D'Souza actually came out and either apologized for it or just settled a defamation suit over it. I think. I could be wrong on this. The publisher stopped, though. It was a stupid film. It was even a dumb hypothesis. Trying to think of what he himself said. Dinesh D'Souza literally had to settle defamation suits because I think there were a couple people featured in the film where it was just like a guy dropping off 3 ballots. Like, he probably was engaged with voter fraud. I was like, what the fuck is, that's it. And that's all he said. No evidence, no nothing. It was just a guy dropped off 3 or 4 ballots and he's like, oh, see, that guy must be doing ballot harvesting. He had no proof of that, no evidence whatsoever. It was a black dude that was dropping off ballots for his family. Like, that was it, which you're allowed to do. And I'm pretty sure that guy sued, Dinesh D'Souza. Was it Mr. Andrews? I don't know if it was him or not, but yeah, Jesus Christ.
Or they get ballots and it's like registered to some random person's account and she has 6.
What? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so my point is that we have really secure elections in the country, and I've heard these arguments before with the particular how the mail-in votes are counted. Haven't argued that particular one too many times, but every single time we try to go in and verify our elections or verify the opposite, even with right-wing groups that gets access to whatever they want, whatever information about some voting machines were breached by MAGA allies of Trump's, they got access to all of that. The evidence is not there because it didn't happen, because it would be absurd to try to steal an election the way y'all think they tried to steal an election.
I'm going to send you the Delco stuff. You got to watch this for me.
But it's vital.
God, and it's always another, like, in any other world, if somebody presented you like a conspiracy theory and you debunked it, and then like 3 more, and then 10 more, and all of these were debunked, why would you think that the 30th conspiracy is going to be the one? Like, even if it ended up being true, how could you have been wrong with so many before then? Like, that doesn't adjust your that doesn't adjust your like assumption about the truthfulness of the claim at all. Like, you're just looking for one thing. Jesus. Destiny, you're wrong. There was voter fraud. It was all me. Every Democratic ballot in a swing state. We only lost because I wasn't taught cursive, so I had to get my mom to do the signatures. She's getting old, so her handwriting speed isn't great. Next election, I'm getting my grandma involved, and we'll be unstoppable.
That you... I always use that word there.
Same thing at the same time.
Great record. It's a great record.
That you would cite all these things or take issue with the entire process that we vote through now. Back in 2020, and then you learn the election is perfectly legitimate because Trump wins, and now y'all don't care.
So I will say that I feel better. I feel like, there are points where I question.
Y'all should imagine how upsetting it is to be on our side, where we had to listen to y'all scream about fraud for 4 years, and then you learn that that's not the case because Trump wins, and it's just sort of, never mind.
That was after 4 years of you guys saying Russia collusion, but I want to point out that in 2020, we had the COVID happened, and it was used and like really abused to change all these different voting systems. Now all of a sudden, all these new states had mail-in ballots, and as we just learned from Lisa, there can be very easily things can be.
I still think they're messing with elections in Arizona and Philly. They're still doing it.
So it is worth noting that the method of collecting ballots and everything in 2020 was novel. We had never had an election under a pandemic the way that we did in 2020. So
yeah, the amount that was mail-in voting.
And also the process. It was like there was a lot of changes and stuff.
It was that year because it happened.
Exactly. Yeah, there was the changes in Pennsylvania that caused Texas to try and sue Pennsylvania about their stuff.
Yeah.
So it was, and the only point that I'm making is that it was a novel election. That there had never been an election that was like that one in history.
Yeah,
so.
and yeah, people feel the same about 2024.
Why on earth would you say that they feel the same about 2024?
Oh, just
articulate why it's novel. What was different about 2024?
The richest man in the world bought one of the largest social media platforms in the world, and he turned it from public to private and then used that platform to support a singular candidate while also donating money and promising millions of dollars for people who voted for that candidate and then did stump speeches for him in Pennsylvania. That's a pretty exceptional circumstance.
Or then everything.
None of the rules changed.
Oh,
what is
yeah,
it?
Well, yeah, that's not true.
What rules changed?
Republican state legislatures that change their voting, but it's fine. It's legitimate. I don't have an issue with it.
Why do you mention
take issue with the policy? No, I'm saying that you feeling that way and it being an unprecedented election and pandemic doesn't justify trying to block the peaceful transfer of power.
No, that's not that's not the argument that I was making. So you're bringing it up to deflect the point. The only thing I was saying is that it was a novel.
I hear you. It's novel. I hear you. You know what? I hear you.
Okay.
It's just you're saying it like it justifies what she was going through. So that's why I was clarifying.
I did not say it justify anything.
Novel as hell.
The only point that I was making is that it was a different situation than any other election that we've gone through. Yes. But I do want to talk about the shift to the right because you've made remarks.
Oh yeah, that thing that we brought up at the very beginning of the show.
About Donald Trump.
Which I'm still not sure actually even happened. Did it? Did we see that?
And it's clear you don't like Donald Trump. I get it. And you've remarked that he didn't win the popular vote, and he didn't win over 50%. So it's not actually that the majority of America wants it. And so I can take that on its face. But the results nationwide in California, I think 11 counties flipped. Basically, the entire country moved right. So how do you square that? If the country generally moved to the right, what's your take on that? How do you feel about that? And what do you think that says about the country's reaction to the Democrat policies that we've been living under for the past 4 years?
Great. And the only reason I brought up, just make sure you'll flip in your head too about what it meant about Trump when Trump lost as well. But let me just answer that because Trump won. And
again, that's why I pointed the right shift because I'm not talking about Trump. I'm talking about the whole country shifted to the right. So and don't talk about that. Don't bring up Trump. It's not about Donald Trump. I know you don't like. We all know. We know you don't like Donald Trump. We know. We get it.
No, I'm gonna explain all what it means about Democrats. I'll note it's almost all about what the Democrats were perceived as opposed to what the alternative was. Okay, so it's really going to focus on Democrats, which will be perfect for you. It was mostly about, from what I can tell, a lack of turnout among people who would have voted for Democrats. So if you look in like really Democratic areas, they didn't turn out to offset the conservative areas as they had in the Biden election. The reason for that is whenever Trump was president and people were upset about the pandemic, the response, the backlash to that was we're going to put in the other guy. And then as we've seen nationwide across, this is the biggest variable, there's a bunch of smaller variables as well, but the biggest variable is that across Western countries, we've seen this backlash to incumbents for the pandemic related conditions, namely prices going up. Now, the United States, I have to throw this in, I'm sorry, has handled inflation much more effectively than our wealthy country counterparts. We brought down inflation much faster than, again, our counterparts across the world. I think Biden-Harris policies have been generally really solid on managing the economy. We came out of the pandemic much more effectively than any other country on the globe. And the unfortunate thing was, though, all those pandemic conditions and recovery efforts that any president would have engaged in, Trump did too, ended up setting up, and supply chain problems and the war in Ukraine, it all contributed to worldwide inflation, and that ended up being blamed on incumbents, right-wing and left-wing across.
Boring, though. Actually, it was about trans women beating up cis women, by the way.
World. You mentioned Ukraine.
He's like, they're all trying to hear like a word that they can jump in on because that was like too much for any of them to understand. It's like, when you said Ukraine, what about money for our people instead of sending $200 billion? Like they're looking for like a buzzword or a slogan that they can jump on because they couldn't follow any of that.
Let's round that out. So I think this is less about people loving what Trump's offering and more about people rejecting an incumbent because they've been misled about what the cause of prices going up was.
So you mentioned Ukraine. As a cause of inflation. And that's something that there's a fairly clear distinction between the right and the left about is Ukraine overall.
But I mentioned that. Let's go there. I love that conversation. But let's just really solidify.
That was just one aspect of it.
Or Ukraine, because that's not the most important part. It was recovery efforts, supply chain problems, and the economic aftermath of the pandemic that Trump would have dealt with too if he'd gotten a second term. That's the main causes of inflation.
He loved gay porn.
And corporate price gouging because people were expecting that Trump would have dealt with too if he'd gotten a second term. That's the main causes of inflation.
He loved gay porn.
And corporate price.
He loves gay porn? What's he saying? I'm sorry. I'm
gouging aftermath of the pandemic.
That's not what she's saying. What is she saying?
That Trump would have dealt with too if he'd gotten a second term. That's the main causes of inflation.
He loves gay porn.
And
gay crane? Like Ukraine? Gay crane? Is that what she's saying? It's not even a good...
Corporate price gouging because people were expecting inflation, so they did it.
That's ridiculous. So now, what did you say?
I just said he loves gay crane just a little.
It's ridiculous they did it, or ridiculous that I said they did it?
Yeah, it's ridiculous that you say that it was corporate price gouging. Yeah. So
I mean, that's just what happened. They increased prices more than inflation necessitated.
I don't think that that's the case. But anyways, the point being, like, I wanted to bring up Ukraine. There's a distinct left and right divide when it comes to Ukraine, right?
Wait, and so I feel like your audience is gonna it'll be disservice to you. Can y'all explain if Biden was so bad for inflation, why we brought it down so much faster than all of our...
I didn't say Biden was so bad for inflation.
and they won't even own that, even though like they've probably complained about it and said the U.S. handled it poorly and said something about we spent too much money and blah 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 blah. Oh my God, it's actually so cowardly. Luke should ask for the affirmative then. Like, oh okay. So you say that he was good for the United States then, since we outperformed all of our counterparts. Then he should ask for the affirmative.
I think you agree the American public misdiagnosed why inflation happened.
No, I don't. Don't put words in my mouth. The government.
No, I was going to say the government spending
is bad about inflation. The government prints.
America did really good handling.
Oh, his slogan is government prints money, no gold standard. No gold standard. Government print money, inflation. Government causes inflation. Like that's it. That's the talking point. Okay, the slogans. Back to the slogans. Thank God.
The federal government prints dollars, and both the Biden administration and the Trump administration spent plenty of money. Those things are
My point is that
unquestionable.
they nailed the recovery. They did amazing. Biden Harris did amazing.
Nope, wrong. They bad recovery because they print money. They print money. Bad recovery. Bad.
Getting us out of the pandemic.
No, they didn't.
Crisis.
So
they did amazing.
No, they didn't.
They did amazing getting us out of Afghanistan.
No, they didn't. They didn't do amazing.
And y'all have misled people about why grocery prices are high. That's my point. And if grocery prices weren't high, we would have not voted for Trump. That's why it's happening. You asked why Trump won.
I didn't ask.
It got a little boring. I need to spice it up.
I didn't ask anything like this.
No, you asked why Trump won. I'm telling you it's because of mostly people were pissed about prices. And I'm saying they were wrong about the cause of it. They were right that it was happening, and they should have voted for
Biden. So listen, I asked for your opinion, and you gave it. I think that actually, instead of moving on to Ukraine, Isabel, you've been fairly quiet. What is your sense as to why there has been a shift to the right?
I think that there's left-wing infighting where there's the really progressives that kind of tell them that they can't speak to these certain people, like something that you do, you speak to people like us, right? That's okay. But that's coupled with, I think, wokeness is a big driver. You even see people, like even just celebrities that are generally leftist, like even I just saw Perez Hilton, who's obviously like very gay, very leftist, liberal kind of guy. He's sick of the wokeness. Bill Maher talks about the wokeness. People on the left, it's getting more popular. I think people see things for their eyes, or for instance, with kids, like people that have kids in schools, they don't want their daughter to have to go into a locker room or bathroom with a man dressing as a woman, right? These things that people try to gaslight us and say, oh, you're just fear-mongering, oh, you're transphobic. It's like, no, I just want to go to the bathroom without a guy in there. So I think wokeness is
y'all have been really
made the distinction earlier between progressives and Democrats.
Like, how much has this happened in literally your entire life? How many bathrooms have you gone into and there was like a trans person in there, like in a threatening? I bet this hasn't happened a single time to any of these people. Like not even one time.
I feel like Democrats would tend to agree with you, at least on this particular issue. Democrats would generally tend to agree with you. I think there's some kind of numbers, like 75% of America thinks that the bathrooms should be, at least for women, like there shouldn't be trans women in women's bathrooms. Right. Men can deal with trans men in men's bathrooms. It's not an issue.
In sports too, women's sports, obviously. People are seeing their daughters have to compete with men.
But these are progressive issues as opposed to what I think would be Democrat basic
Let's be fair. Nobody is like, if a Blair White or a Brianna.
Oh, she's going to bring a mic? Yeah, or it's not mine, but.
Wu is like walking into a bathroom, right? I would never call the police or anything like that. And it was never a thing. I worked in a bar and we would have
made it a thing?
Wait, hold on. It was never a thing. There were women coming into bathrooms. It is the ones that look like that Jeffrey creepy Marsh dude, okay? The ones that aren't fully committed to their transition, right? The Jeffrey Marsh, the thing that happened in the Loudoun County, right? It is those instances, right? And the fact that it was like, it's becoming like a social contagion, right? To where they're putting it in schools and they're putting books in schools. It's also what's responsible for this rise in Christianity. You have like 1 in 5 kids now that are saying that they believe in God and they're turning to Christian things. You have like Gwen Stefani coming out doing a thing with Halo, right? Recently.
I think that part of that is because of the fact that it's a rejection of what people feel like is obvious reality, right? So the idea that a man can become a woman can become a man.
They can't define the word woman.
True. Right. My take is like society can deal with trans people like fairly easily.
I never cared.
It's not an actual problem. And the demand by the far left, again, the progressives, not people that are more of a Democrat kind of persuasion. I think that they demand that you think of them as women. The progressives, the really extreme, ideologically possessed people will, and this is a minority. This is a minority. Hold on. Well, there's 3 of us. I understand you're in a rough spot.
Yeah, you are. I'll let him know that. I'll wait.
But the point that I'm making is when you're dealing with people that are on the far, far left, not the average Democrat, saying things like, no, there's no difference between a biological woman and a trans woman. They're both biologically women.
I don't know.
The Missouri congressperson said that.
I think most people understand biological sex versus your gender identity. But
I agree with you, most people. That's why I specified the people that are extremely progressive.
And why is the tagline trans women are women?
Right.
Because the far left is who is actually making the rhetoric.
Trans women are trans women. Like, that's fine. You're trans women, trans women.
You're not a woman.
If they're existing in society in every meaningful way other than if you knew way too intimately their biological details,
it doesn't matter.
We're all going to treat them like women.
Stop telling me that. Why do I have to go in when I'm
getting a lactation consultant to like breastfeed my kid and they call it chest feeding? I'm clearly a biological woman.
I'm going to go through some of this. So one of the things that happens, I think the best friend of MAGA is like the super uber, I don't know what to call them, like the extreme end of the left, okay? Because they provide these nice semi-attached to reality, but kind of straw men people that y'all can engage with. And what I mean is, it's not that these things aren't a thing. Like I talked about the bathroom thing. I think Nancy Mace is being psychotic with her obsession over one trans member of Congress where she goes to the restroom. She wasn't going to go to that restroom anyways. But I know these things exist, and I'm happy to talk about them as sort of cultural issues and social media discussions, but I don't think they exist in the way they impact people's lives, like the policy issues I'm focused on most of the time, and the policy issues that most prominent Democrats are focused on, like politicians. What Republicans often do is, like, if the Republican line, Trump wants to come in and give big tax cuts, his last one's disproportionately benefited wealthy folks, and then he wants to do these tariffs that will spike prices. And if he actually was really clear and transparent about what he wants to do, then I don't think people would vote for Republicans as much because their economic agenda is trash. They have a worse economic record over the last century. But instead, it has to be, don't look at that. Look at all of these other niche cultural issues, like a trans person you're probably never going to notice yourself interacting with.
All right, but it's my turn.
And then so that's a big part of this. I wish y'all would engage with what Kamala Harris was actually running on. You can go look at all of her speeches. It wasn't about trans bathrooms.
She literally said multiple times that she would provide money for trans prisoners.
Aren't these I'm sorry. Where are my conservatives? There's like 4 you left. Where did Kamala ever mention this in the current season, or was this all from that video in like 2019? Was there any current mention of this?
I'm talking about
right. Okay, so that is something that
there it is again. You're doing it again. You found it.
Let's look it up.
Trans person, you're probably
Kamala Harris, trans bathrooms, prisons. Jesus Christ. Nathan. This claim stems from 2019, when Harris originally ran for president. At the time, she voiced her support for funding.
And speaking of Kamala Harris, today our Verified team is taking a closer look at a campaign commercial that focuses on the VP. Our team has been fact-checking the political ads you're seeing right here on TV and on social media. And this one in particular, we've gotten dozens of emails about. The ad claims Harris supports using taxpayer money to pay for sex changes for inmates. Tonight, our Megan Bragg verifies that claim.
We wanted to start out by saying there are 2 different ads about this topic that are currently running on air. Today, we are only looking at the one that focuses on her beliefs during her presidential campaigns, not her time as Attorney General in California.
Kamala supports taxpayer-funded sex changes for prisoners.
This ad is paid for by Donald Trump's campaign. So does Kamala Harris support taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for prison inmates in the United States? Let's verify. To get the facts, we went to a questionnaire by the ACLU, Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign platform, and the Federal Bureau of Prisons. This claim stems from 2019 when Harris originally ran for president. At the time, she voiced her support for funding transition-related care, including surgery for transgender prison inmates. In 2019, she also filled out this candidate questionnaire from the ACLU. One of the questions asked if, as president, she would use executive authority to ensure transgender people who rely on the state for medical care, including those in prison, would have access to comprehensive treatment associated with gender transition, including all necessary surgical care. As you can see, Harris answered yes. In the U.S., there are more than 2,230 transgender people incarcerated in federal prisons and nearly 5,000 transgender people incarcerated in state prisons. Today, Harris's 2024 presidential platform does not mention gender transition surgeries for prisoners or transgender people at all. It does, however, say she will fight to pass the Equality Act to protect LGBTQA+ Americans in healthcare, housing, education, and more into law as president. So while it is true that Harris did once support transgender surgery in prisons in 2019 when she ran for president, right now her team says she's not running on this or proposing it. So we are going to give this a needs con.
Is there any claim of her saying this, or is this all from 2019? He just said he's seen her say it multiple times. There should be one video, right?
He wants to do, then I don't think people would vote for Republicans as much because their economic agenda is trash. They have a worse economic record over the last. Never going to notice yourself interacting with.
All right, but it's my turn.
And then so that's a big part of this. I wish y'all would engage with what Kamala Harris was actually running on. You can go look at all of her speeches. It wasn't about trans bathrooms.
She literally said multiple times that she would provide money for trans prisoners.
Like, do you see the simulacrum that this guy, he's recalling a false memory, right? Do you understand like how weird this is? This is the hyper reality. He's remembering a thing that hasn't happened, and he's so sure about it. He's like remembering it multiple times. Like,
I was a father. My poor boy. That's enough, but not.
Like he's getting upset over things that have never happened. It's fake memories that he's upset about. This guy is literally upset about shit that never happened.
It's about trans bathrooms.
She literally said multiple times that she would provide money for trans prisoners to get it changed. Okay. So that is
like,
something.
Did she ever even say that in 2019? Or was it just the thing that she filled out, right? Like, did she even say it in 2019?
There it is again. You're doing it again. You found a clip that wasn't from her presidential campaign. That was
like, again, it's not even a clip. Unless maybe, I don't know, maybe they'll look this one up. Have you noticed that almost every single thing that all of these people have said on this show is a fucking lie, except for Luke, who's supposed to know and offhandedly be able to counter like 4,000 fucking bad claims? Like, this is insane. This is an insane paradigm. It's crazy. And they don't even get like points off for any of this. They didn't even get in trouble. It's not like anybody even thinks less of them afterwards.
It might have been from like her one way.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She said it.
That was a Trump administration.
Like, it doesn't look.
Provide money for trans prisoners to get it changed.
about trans bathrooms.
She literally said multiple times that she would provide money for trans prisoners to get it changed.
Okay.
So that is something that
there it is again. You're doing it again. You found a clip that wasn't from her presidential campaign. That was, it might have been from like her one-way.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She said it.
That was a Trump.
It doesn't even matter if it's part of her campaign. What if she said this when she was like 20? What if she said this like in, like, what do you mean it doesn't matter?
Administration era policy that he was abiding by as well. But my point is, just listen for a second.
It's my turn.
That's what y'all do instead of engaging with her actual policy proposals, which were mostly economic ones to bring down prices, enhance child tax credit, small business related tax breaks. That's what she was running on a pro.
This is also why I don't ever want to hear Republicans talk about tabletop issues or kitchen table issues or what matters in these bills or whatever. Clearly, they don't give a fuck about that shit. Okay, they would be more obsessed with keeping trans women out of bathrooms in colleges that they're too fucking stupid to even attend than they would give a fuck at all about like their actual economic outcomes. They don't give a fuck about any of that. That's why as soon as Trump comes in, they're going to all shut the fuck up about inflation. They're going to shut the fuck up about any unemployment. And all of a sudden, those things that didn't matter before, like GDP and the stock market, are become the most important economic indicators that they've ever fucking thought about in their entire lives.
Freedom platform, and that's what I resonated with. And what y'all will do is only engage with like the online wokesters instead of engaging with the fact that the Democrats really do have a better economic agenda than Republicans, which I'll argue until I'm blue with.
Time out. Okay, so it's my turn, right?
Does that make sense at all to you? Does the argument like?
Yeah,
I strongly believe that you'll argue every Democrat point.
Okay, wait, I will not. So
as opposed to you, who's literally bought into every single cult point with even after being proved wrong over and over again, and then you just stop looking them up.
I just want to
criticize. I already have.
You say we don't push back. I actually made a post that the bathroom thing with Nancy Mace was absolutely irrelevant because every member has their own bathroom. Everybody, and I wrote it. I wrote a post saying this bathroom stuff with Nancy Mace is like retarded.
It's a political statement.
Because every member has their own private bathroom in their own office. There's no, and they don't. I've been on the Hill for many years. They did finally put a women's bathroom off like the floor of Congress, right? So I push back on that. That's one thing. Second thing is like the tariffs. They keep saying it's tariffs, but like Brazil has normally the highest tariffs in all of the countries, and they have the second richest per capita GDP. Facts, right? So like.
Is that true? Whoa. Brazil has a fuck ton of people. The second highest GDP per capita? What? I don't even know if they have the second highest GDP per capita in South America, where there's like 10 countries. Oh, wait. She did say facts, though. GDP per capita, all South American countries. They're fifth in South America. What? Maybe she meant overall GDP? But that doesn't count. Brazil is a huge population. It's like 200. Yeah, it's a fucking huge country. Okay, maybe she must have just meant like absolute. But like, that's what a shitty argument. Wait, she just... Oh, I just realized she just did the thing. She just did the thing that I screamed that they were going to do. Which is when all of these numbers, like the stock market and the GDP, none of that shit matters. And now all of a sudden, it's literally the most important fucking thing in the world. Oh.
All of the countries, and they have the second richest per capita GDP. Facts, right? So like, you can argue the tariffs all you want because, all these, whatever, go look it up.
I don't think you hear my argument, though.
No, I'm just saying, you brought up tariffs. I just want to like throw that out there. Okay, so like, it doesn't...
Let's talk about tariffs as a whole thing, because there's a whole thing there.
Well, tariffs is a bargaining chip. You guys are looking at it like it's, policy or whatever. We are tariffed to death. Like, you do not see, if you go to England, if you go to Germany, you don't see, their taxi cabs are Mercedes, right?
You are aware.
What are you talking about? If you go to another country... What? I don't even think Luke needs to shut. This is the harshest I'm going to be on Luke. This is the harshest I'm going to be on Luke the entire debate, because Luke needs to shut the fuck up right now. And Luke needs to say, hold on 1 second. She can say, hold on 1 second. Hold up. She's going to say, what Luke needs to say is, he needs to go, what do you think a tariff is? He just needs to ask that. Any other response here would be wrong. This is the only time I'm going to come down on him.
If you go to England, if you go to Germany, you don't see their taxi cabs are Mercedes, right?
You are aware that there are tariffs that exist currently, right?
We are burdened with tariffs. We're trying to level the playing field and bring manufacturing jobs back here.
All I'm saying, this is just, if Trump follows through on the 25%, and then 10% extra on China, on our three biggest trading partners, I'm not...
How do you walk into a negotiating table?
Hold up, let me say. If people voted for him because they wanted prices to go down, you can make the argument that it's a good trade-off to have prices go way up, but it's bring more manufacturing jobs, whatever, and sometimes that's a trade-off that we do. He should do it strategically across the board, tariff on all imports. It's a crazy proposal, but I'm just saying, your people, you're gonna have people who are mad at Trump because all they care about is the grocery prices.
Let me explain. What he's doing is a negotiation. Fine. He has to set how he is seen to the outside world. The reason that Trump didn't get had no new wars and all that stuff is because he's a lunatic. Because they were so afraid that he would push the button. They didn't know what he would do. He was unpredictable. They were afraid. They were more willing to negotiate with him.
If they were more willing to negotiate with him and they were more afraid, then why did Iran feel bolden enough to launch a drone attack for the first time at Saudi Arabian refineries? Why did Syria feel emboldened enough to continue chemical weapons attacks on their citizens? What do you mean they felt? Why is it that soldiers were still dying in Afghanistan? Why were Palestinians breaching the wall around Gaza and setting mines in fucking Israel? What do you mean? People felt scared. Who the fuck was afraid? What are we talking about? Why was Russia still engaged in a war in Ukraine? Who the fuck was? Nobody is afraid of Donald Trump. This is just it's a delusion. Nobody is afraid of this fucking retard.
Kind of like this. If you're doing a court case settlement, right? They have like a T-sheet, right? Or if you're buying a house, right? The seller lists the price higher than what they actually really want to get it for. And then the buyer comes in and they go low. So now he has to have this policy, this objective that seems like it's crazy and it's really going to hurt them and it's really going to impact and that's why Mexico is already starting to negotiate and do stuff with us because they don't want those taxes and they think he's insane enough to put them in. It is a complete tool. It's a rhetoric tool. It is I am presenting power and insanity on the world stage and they're afraid of him. And that's why
that can be your argument. I'm telling you, the people who voted for him on prices are going to be mad if he follows through on this and spikes prices. That's all I'm saying.
Well, listen, there are...
And don't dispute that that's what 25% on all imports.
I think that it's important to point out the reason that prices are such an issue is because the inflation has already come and kind of gotten under control, but we had such outrageous inflation.
Ooh, it has already gotten under control under Biden? Is that true? Okay.
And inflation is a leader and wages are a laggard. So wages have yet to rise to meet the inflation. That's what happens.
Well... I don't think that's true. I think technically real median wages are higher than they ever have been. So I don't think that's true, but okay.
We've surpassed it now.
Yeah.
So just so you know,
like people's purchasing power now is where it was pre-pandemic. It's gone back up.
So I mean, well, I'm not sure that's the case.
Yeah, well, you'd be wrong, but that's fine because you don't know any facts or care. You're more obsessed with a girl cock, so that's okay.
Still has an inflation rate
because of the incredible Biden era wage growth. Real wage growth.
Real wage, Fred, look it up.
I don't know that that's actually true, but
then look it up. This is one of the disagreements that I talk about should never happen on a show. This is an easy thing. Just look it up. Look it up. Easy.
Point being, people are responding to what they had felt for the past 4 years, not just what has happened in the past 6 months. All
right. So let me just say something. We'll go back to Brazil for a second. So Brazil's inflation rate is higher than their set goal of 3%, but it's at 4.77. Right? They have no income tax and they have the most tariffs out of any country, and they have the highest GDP. Right?
Where does she keep getting this highest GDP shit from? What is she even talking about? What fact sheet is she looking up that's giving her some facts, but then lying about that so much?
So their prices aren't going up. They can set these trade agreements, right? They can have, and they have the highest GDP, right? So their prices aren't going up.
You just said they had 4% inflation, but their prices aren't going up? What can we even look up? Inflation rate, Brazil, history. What even is? Hold on. I'm sorry. I don't know the history of Brazil's economics. Is this... Wait, what? I'm not reading this right. Can somebody... This has to be... There must have been some huge... Wait, Brazil is tracked by... Oh, the... Reserve and... Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, this graph is a little... Okay, let's look in the past 10 years. Bro! This is your comparator? You want to be like Brazil? 6 points, 9 points, 9 points. Oh, it's low here at 3.4, 3.7, 3.7, 3.2. 8 points. Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
They can set these trade agreements, right? They can have...
It sounds like tariffs aren't working out. If that's your big go-to policy, sounds like it's not doing too hot for them, Chief. Oh, my God. Look it up. Luke should be like, let's look this up right now. Oh, my God. Every single thing has been a lie. Every single thing has been a lie.
High GDP, right? So their prices aren't going up. They can set these trade agreements, right?
She's reading like the www.welcometobrazil.com/tourism site or some bullshit.
They can have their tariffs a certain way. Tariffs are negotiating tools to get what you want.
No, they're not generally. Tariffs are a big fuck you tool and they fuck over everybody involved. Or use them to protect local economies.
I think that people are only looking at it from a non-strategic method of engaging with.
Like, you understand that, like, holding a fucking gun to your forehead can be a negotiating tactic as well, right? Like, I really want to go to Applebee's tonight. I don't know. I don't feel like going to Applebee's tonight. I want Applebee's. It's Free Wing Tuesday. Still gonna say no? Like, anything can be a negotiating tactic. We're not talking about whether something, it's just the policy itself was fucking retarded. And Trump doesn't talk about it like a negotiating tactic. He talks about it like a suicide pact.
Economic policies with other countries. And we have notoriously been, because we're the biggest or the richest or the whatever country, we have been like the everybody's like, you know, like
we're the charity for everyone. Everyone come here.
I want to get you in on
$1 billion to Africa for disaster relief.
I want to get you in on.
What does $1 billion to the disaster relief have to do with trade policy, tariffs? What are you talking about?
What's your take on the economic policies that
look at her face already?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care about this stuff. I did have a point about the trans stuff.
No, you don't care. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Be honest. I don't actually give a fuck about economics because I'm white and I'm rich and who cares? Let's go back to talking about girl cock. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Wanted to bring up quickly. I will admit they know more about this than me.
Destiny, are we actually beating pre-pandemic purchasing power? Yes, I believe if you look up Fred real median wages, I'm pretty sure they are higher. They have been. Absent this spike, that's kind of like during the pandemic itself, real median wages spiked a fuck ton, but it was because all of the lower class jobs had been kicked out of the economy. So the only people that were left working were stay at home, like middle class workers. But once the economy picked back up again, yeah, our real wages have been basically back at, or they're at all-time highs.
It's just not what I'm into. I should read up on it though. But just back on the trans stuff because I couldn't get in there. I want something that the right, so something that I think a lot of the people that went to the right and the right is definitely sick of is the LGBTQ whatever being shoved down our throats. And Lisa showed me this on the car right here. If you look up, not only do we have a gay pride month, but it's gay pride a year all the time.
Wages is not the same as buying power. Correct. That's why I'm not talking about wages. I'm talking about real wages, which is buying power. Dipshit.
Because I have this as a link in the doc. There's so many gay holidays, literally multiple every single month. There's even more singular gay holidays in Gay Pride Month. So why do they have to shove it down our throats? It's annoying. I know that you're not doing it, but I think that's a big shift to the right.
It's sometimes multiple times a month. It's like nothing. Like for people that say they're so oppressed, there's nothing more celebrated right now in our culture than gay sex. And here's the problem that I have with that. Wait,
I agree. Maybe
nothing is more celebrated than gay sex. Is that what she just said?
Say they're so oppressed. There's nothing more celebrated right now in our culture than gay sex. And here's the problem that I have with that.
I agree. Maybe.
This is excessive. Here's what's excessive.
But I understand the urge to celebrate oneself when for centuries you've been, dehumanized.
But you're not anymore. Here's the thing. I go into a Target with my daughter.
Nobody's been alive for centuries, my man.
I go in with my 5-year-old and my 9-year-old, right? They can read, right? And there's rainbow flags everywhere. And it's like, I forget what it said in this one Target, but it was like be gay, right? And like be something else.
It's like a toddler's t-shirt.
Right? And it's like, no, it was like,
there's no way it says be gay.
All fine stuff.
It was really crazy.
Be gay.
It really was. It was
gay do crime is
it was like something that
says a lot.
I can't remember the exact phrase, but I did tweet about it. So it was like, this was a while ago. It was like 2 years ago. It was so egregious, right? And my kids are like, what does that mean, right? And so my next door neighbor who flies the gay pride flag, we live literally across from a schoolyard where there is like kids, elementary school age, playing out in the thing all the time, right? And so they're asking these questions, right?
She had these same issues a long time ago. Is that true? The per capita arguments? Oh, wait, fuck.
As a per capita
like
class,
more people,
I don't think that's...
There are more white people on welfare than there are on black people on welfare right now today in America.
But black people are like white people are like 3 times the percentage of the population, right?
Yep, there's still more of them. And they're not committing as many crimes.
Okay, but
you can't just say lower socioeconomic status is the reason that they're committing these crimes.
Yeah, but like we would, if we were going to meaningfully analyze these numbers, we would look at this as like a per capita, not an absolute number of people, right?
I mean, there's an absolute number of people. There are a certain amount of people that commit crimes. There are a certain amount of people that don't, right? And if we break that down into demographics, more African American people commit crimes than white people. True.
Right? Like, I don't want my kids sexualized. I don't want them talking about sex. I don't want them knowing about sex. My kids, their 3rd grade class didn't even know what curse words were. That's the kind of environment that I keep them in, right? Oh, I don't want...
Oh, honey. Oh, my God. My dear. You sweetheart. You think your children in 3rd grade don't know about any swear words? Bless your heart. part.
Elementary school age, playing out in the thing all the time, right? And so they're asking these questions, right? Like, I don't want my kids sexualized. I don't want them talking about sex. I don't want them knowing about sex. My kids, their third grade class didn't even know what curse words were. That's the kind of environment that I keep them in, right? I don't want to have to, like, I want to be able to choose when I want to have the conversations about sex and sexuality with my kids, right? Like, if I want to say two people can love each other, if I want to say two men can love each other, that should be fine if they love each other. If I want to say that, I want to choose when I'm allowed to say that without having it plastered everywhere. I mean, all the time plastered everywhere, as if it's invoking conversations. That's the problem.
So let's get Luke. Let's get your take on the. Do you believe that it is excessive the way that the government is focusing on things like the LGBTQ
government?
Because I mean, we're making all of these days. I believe these are all sanctioned by the. I mean, they're not federal holidays, but they are.
Harvey Milk Day, federal.
Yeah, like I mean, it's all the time.
No, I think I found like some LGBTQ website. I don't think all of these are like.
No, if you go to national holidays, because I used to have to check them for congressional stuff. Like we have to say like happy whatever day.
Again, it's like.
Do you think it's shoved down our throats or not?
National, like federally recognized holidays? Wait, how many federal holidays are about gay shit? Is a federal holiday is only a holiday where like banks and everybody get time off, right? Not just like the random like, oh, this is like welcome to Indigenous Trans Day or whatever, right? Federal holidays list, USA. Okay, federal holidays. We've got New Year's, that's kind of gay. Martin Luther King, I don't think he's gay yet. Washington, wore wig, kind of gay. Memorial Day, there's probably gay vets. Juneteenth has some gay people because some of them would be gay. Independence Day. Wore wigs, they were gay. Labor Day, not gay. Gay people don't work. Columbus Day, wigs gay. Veterans Day, some veterans are gay. Thanksgiving Day, Indians are gay. And Christmas Day is definitely not gay. Wait, is there a single gay federal holiday? Wait, there's not even one. Wait, what holidays is she talking about? What?
I'm like, let's address food insecurity in the country. Let's address poverty. And it's like, oh, there's two LGBT
federal holidays, but they are
Harvey Milk Day, federal
days. I believe these are all sanctioned by the. I mean, they're not federal holidays.
Okay, he says they're not, and then she says some of them are.
They are.
Harvey Milk Day, federal.
Yeah, like
Harvey Milk Day. I'm so sorry. What is Harvey Milk Day? What is? I don't know anything about. Do you get work off for this one? He's a gay rights activist who was assassinated in 1978. Bro, I feel like conservatives would, honest to God, be like the best people to have as allies for like LGBT people. Like if you wanted to do a memorial for like LGBT shit, but you didn't want to actually like fucking read all the bullshit, you should just like dress it up as an anti-gay meeting and invite some conservatives to speak, and they will go on stage and they could probably recite the fucking history better than any gay guy in the entire United States. We're here to talk about how the history of the Stonewall riots. We're here to talk about Harvey Milk and blah, blah, because they apparently know every single fucking thing about like gay history. And you can just sit there and listen and pretend that they're not being hateful about it. It's like, okay, cool, this is cool. We can just like remember all this shit because they know it better than we do. Holy fuck.
Yeah, I mean, it's all the time.
No, I think I found like some LGBTQ website. I don't think all of these are like.
Schools are pushing the straight agenda. I want to choose when to tell my kids about straight people loving each other. True.
Oh, if you go to national holidays, because I used to have to check them for congressional stuff. Like we have to say like happy whatever day.
Again, it's like.
Do you think it's shoved down our throats or not?
I'm like, let's address food insecurity in the country. Let's address poverty. And it's like, oh, there's too many gay holidays.
Well, I mean, there are different. So you're saying you don't want to talk about this topic? Because I mean, we can move on to something else if you like.
No, I'll talk about it. I'm trying to demonstrate the point that I'm saying, which is that the Republican politicians that have bad like economic prescriptions, they benefit from us fixating over these cultural things. That
they force us to fix it.
I'm addressing it, but I don't know if there's too many up there.
I think
I'm sure we can debate about that, but I do think it's totally understandable that you were talking so much about backlash, how y'all have reacted. If you know that, like a lot of people growing up too, I was trying to explain this to Isabella with her usage of certain terms, harmful terms. Slurs. You wouldn't empathize with someone who like their whole life felt demonized, dehumanized. So then moments like a Pride Month or something, it's just their chance to be like, "Woo, I'm proud of who I am." And if y'all don't think it's moral or something to be gay, that's your journey.
Hold on, I want to put a pin in that.
But my ideology says that even
just as a heads up, this show started with we're at 1 hour 34 minutes and 7 seconds.
As today we've got. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Culture War podcast. Today, we've got a couple Gen Z guests. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump's victory and why Gen Z men went for Donald Trump and why Gen Z women didn't. So if you guys want to go ahead and...
That's what we're supposed to be talking about today. We're an hour... What did I say? We're at 1:34. We haven't even talked about that topic yet, but okay.
Even with different moral frameworks, we can generally coexist as long as we don't dehumanize, which not y'all, but like the right wing for a very long time was doing that.
So you mentioned, people, you said people all their lives. There's no one in Gen Z that remembers a time where...
It's just not true. I promise.
There's no one in Gen Z, you don't even let me finish, but there's no one in Gen Z that really remembers a time where gay marriage wasn't the law of the land, right?
Yeah, because they're too young.
How old is Gen Z? Like, what's the oldest Gen Zer?
I'm
26, 27.
26, 27. So when was
2013, was it? Obergefell?
I'm not sure. I thought it was like 2012. So it's been a decade. So I mean, maybe there's a handful of people that were, that are Gen Z that remember a time before being
It was 2015. I just looked it up. Obergefell v. Hunter.
10 years ago. Hold on. 10 years ago was when Obergefell was passed, or the Supreme Court made that decision. So to say that Gen Z is in a situation where they remember a time where they were persecuted for being gay, I think that's not right. Maybe millennials, definitely Gen Xers could say that, but I don't think that Gen Z could say that.
There's lots of tension. They want all this like oppression points. And by the way, even before it was nationally legalized, it was also becoming legal in certain states with the Supreme Court.
But before that, though, there's one even more thing that's like even more whatever. You said something, and I want to give you credit for that. You think that we can have a framework where we identify, like we each have our moral beliefs, and then it's but it's able to coexist, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's true, right? I do think that should be allowed. However, we have like NFL sports teams making their people wear rainbow pride flags, but they're not making them wear crosses. Right. They're not having a Catholic night where everybody's got to wear a cross on their arm. Okay,
Black National Anthem.
I'm not done. And we're not having big like Catholic parades.
Is that even a thing? If I look this up, is this even happening? NFL force players, rainbow jerseys. This season, NFL players and coaches have been spotted on the sidelines wearing apparel with multicolored patterns. Whether this is the front of what's the reason for different colors? The reason behind it. It's a great reason. NFL's been working with the ACS for over a decade, dating back to 2009. They come together to fight against cancer. Wait, who joined? Oh, hey, what's up? Wait, give me like 15 minutes.
Okay, no worries.
Is that okay?
I'll let you continue watching this slop.
Shut the fuck up, you're slop, bitch.
All right.
Love you.
See you soon.
Wait, is this just American Cancer Society? Wait, is this not even about, I thought it was going to be like people were choosing to do it, but this is in 2022. The refusal to wear a rainbow-colored uniform potentially missed games for the club that pays you to play. Okay, this sounds like it was a thing. I guess, right? Or wait, is this in Australia? Wait, was this even in the United States? Wait, can somebody link me this? What the fuck are they talking about? She mixed it up with the NHL. NHL teams won't wear theme night jerseys after players' LGBTQ pride refusals. Teams will still celebrate pride on other theme nights, including, okay. NHL teams, this is in 2023, won't wear special jerseys for pregame warm-ups during themed nights next season. The result of a handful of players. Okay, so they didn't even have to. It sounds like they refused to do it, and it was only for pregame warm-ups. And it was for theme nights. Okay, this is like this is so different than the NFL was forcing their players to wear. Okay, whatever.
Where there's naked people, he's got to wear a cross on their arm. Okay,
Black National Anthem.
I'm not done. And we're not having big like Catholic parades where there's naked people in the street, right? We're not having Catholic ideology or whatever taught to kids in school. We're not saying what.
You're pointing out these are mostly what you're talking about are social things, but they are sanctioned by the government. So even though the government isn't making the NFL do these things, and the government's not saying
they're teaching about non-binary stuff in school, but
wait, what does the government have to do with the, first of all, this is a fake story. How is he talking about how? One of the funniest things when you catch like a friend or a partner or whatever lying is to just ask them questions and to see how much they'll make up. Like, let's say that somebody was supposed to like take out the trash, but instead they stayed inside and they played Call of Duty. You're like, hey, did you get the trash? Like, oh yeah. And they're like, oh yeah. Did you see Mr. Frank outside? It's like, oh yeah, I saw him. Yeah, we chatted. Yeah, he said everything's cool. He asked how you're whatever. And they're like, this guy hasn't left the house. He's just been playing video games all day, and he like hid the trash in the garage or something. Like, it's just like what? Like, well, not only did the NFL ban or force players to wear rainbow jerseys on the field, the government even sanctioned it. And it's like, I don't even think the first thing happened. How could the second thing have happened? How do you have a memory of the second thing happening when the first thing didn't even happen?
They're not teaching about Catholicism in school.
That's right. That's the point.
So
that's the point that I'm making is they are mostly social things.
True. Y'all, wait.
This is the gaslighting I'm talking about.
Wait. What you're talking about is you'll have examples. Like in the curriculum, it's not, hey, in second grade, we're telling you what it means to be trans. At least I haven't seen that in curricula. But what is true is that sometimes teachers, maybe sometimes in ways that are inappropriate, induce their own ideology into teaching, as has been happening forever. My teacher did talk about their Christian views a lot in a public school, in an environment where normally that's not supposed to be a thing. I did have them talk about how like weird stuff about the Civil War that was kind of weird and right wing. And that is a thing, and you can take issue with it on the local level with your teachers and all that. But again, the blowing...
They're acting like it's a federal government order to all teachers to trans the kids.
I'm not trying to gaslight, but I'm just saying the pride message, while there's instances like I agree, if you're in a place where it's just like public...
This is true for me growing up as well. So many of my fucking teachers like injected so much Christian ideology in like every single fucking class that I took. It was crazy.
You're naked? Stop. But
largely the gays.
With the pride message, the best of the pride message, and what has helped us make so much progress with the next generation, and with current, and like as the generation have gone on, we've made progress on this, is saying what I'm saying, which is that
it's because I went to Catholic school.
We can be proud of who we are as individuals, and some people can find that behavior.
But 10 years ago, we were there.
But the pride flag isn't saying like you have to be gay or you have to be trans. It's saying
no, but it's forcing us to have this conversation.
It is forcing you. You do have to be gay. When you wear rainbow shit, it means any gay guy can walk up to you and molest you. Okay?
Years ago, I can tell you that for sure. We weren't.
I'm telling you, when I was growing up, I'm way older.
Understand. Right? You're complaining so much because people treat you bad because you have a MAGA hat on. You should experience what a lot of people experience.
We love gay people. Yeah, I love gay people. People on the right, my mom, everybody love gay people.
Great, that's an awesome experience for you. That's not the universal experience for everybody.
She would say, now I fucking hate gay people because they want me to wear their fucking rainbows.
But I'm saying there was a cultural shift before you were born. Okay.
How do you think we made that cultural shift? Yeah, sometimes the pendulum swings a little bit.
But that's my point. Is now it's moving a little too far. Right now it feels ubiquitous, and that's why there's backlash. I didn't care before if gay people got married. Now I don't want them married. Like that's
what the fuck? I was just kidding. I was joking. I didn't actually fucking mean that we were gonna...
A little too far. Right now it feels ubiquitous, and that's why there's backlash. I didn't care before if gay people got married. Now I don't want them married. Like that's
just
literally
like
how I went.
Really reactionary way to view.
Well, because it's like it's like give an inch, take a mile. Right?
It's never enough. That's the thing. What more does...
They need a social cause to like be the victim of.
What?
But it is. They need a social cause to be a victim of, to constantly be in this fighting mentality. It's kind of like the Marxist social trend.
It is fair to say that as long as you have lobbying groups and special interest groups, that they're going to need to be in a position of victimhood, so that way they can continue to.
And that's why we need
now whether or not you think that it's extensive
across the political spectrum. There's like Trump Bibles being put in.
Yeah, every time anyone says anything, you're like, well, Trump. Like you've literally replied with Trump's name almost everything I say, and I wasn't making.
I'm trying to demonstrate it's whenever I'm demonstrating a principle. If you vote on the basis of some of these issues without understanding how they're ubiquitous, then you're voting in a misinformed way. So I'm trying to illustrate.
Well, everyone has their own interest in the things that they're going to be concerned with. So the people that would be an LGBT lobby, they're going to be voting against things that are positive for Christians or whatever.
That's not true. That's my point, though, is that
so then Christians vote against gay people, but gay people don't vote against.
No, not all Christians vote against gay people.
What you're alluding to, maybe it's not. I'm not saying that everyone.
No, that's not.
What you're alluding to is people on the right will vote against the things that are good for gay people or whatever, but people that are on the left won't vote against.
No, I think sometimes the Democratic Party also is successful in blowing these issues or convincing people to be distracted by certain issues that then they don't actually have to do as much structural stuff on. Like the economic things I think we should fix would be contradictory to that of a lot of special interests, powerful big pharma, big oil, etc. And so it's easier to run on issues that don't threaten those special interests, which the right and left do, but at least the Democratic Party has some record of making positive economic progress, whereas the Republican Party is just using the fuel of these cultural issues.
So what I want to say about that is, you said like...
and pride is not exclusionary of Christianity. It is vice versa if you believe.
No, they mock it. They dress up as nuns and mock it.
Would you consider
I don't like mocking religions, but I'm saying that one is saying you get to be who you are if that's a super religious, straight, whatever. That's you can be proud of that.
I strongly disagree with that.
They don't let us
celebrate.
You think the pride is saying everyone should be gay? How does that even work?
But they're saying
you don't want to have sex with like a trans woman, so a man, then that's transphobic.
They do say that.
They say that.
Who the fuck cares if somebody calls you transphobic? Who cares? Why do you care? How often are these conversations coming up to an ordinary human being? How many times as a guy, are you telling me that if you were to remake Office Space in 2024, that he's like working away at his computer and somebody's like, hey, here comes the Office survey, the monthly survey, would you have sex with a trans person yet? And the guy's like, no. It's like, oh, you're transphobic, cancel him, kick him out of the office. Like,
I don't believe that anyone of note, any Democratic politician has ever said.
It's always about politics.
Thank you, true. And even for normal people, 20 times more.
Because I'm not going to get bogged down. Do you understand the framework? Engagement sells on social media. So we're all...
Do you understand the framework? The framework that Luke is referring to is Luke is bringing up things that Donald Trump says or leading Republicans say. They're bringing up crazies on social media.
Always going to hear these really loud idiots, and I'm not going to let my entire political analysis be skewed by that. So instead, I'm going to focus on relevant people, which are people in positions of power. But y'all's whole world is shaped by an annoying TikToker.
I just earlier mentioned that there's a congressperson from I believe it's from Montana that's a trans person that was saying what was the remark they made, that trans women are biological women. So
oh my God, what is this? That's your attack. That's how you're feeling, like attacked by Democrats, bro.
Show me that.
And
another source request, not good. Ooh, he's like, oh fuck, oh no.
Getting that up.
Do you think he's going to bring this up again? Do you think he's going to be able to find it, or do you think we're just going to forget that and move on to the 50 other pivots and attacks?
I want to point out, you did mention how you had a Christian teacher. What other what is the percentage of teachers that pushed a left-wing ideology onto you? Because I had that way more. I had like 2 conservative teachers in my entire life, of like high school through college, and everyone else was super left-wing. So this is.
Where did you grow up at? What city?
This is the point that conservatives are making, and you say that we just feel like we're being victimized. No, we know that they want us to know we're in the minority, because at every single major institution, we have the Hollywood elites, the college, like the education system.
I don't even know. You see how she just corrected there? Are most teachers? Well, I'm willing to bet this is a vibes question, or this is a vibes feeling. If somebody's pulling data, you're gonna like the opposite. Like K through 12 is probably a lot closer to being 50-50 Democrat versus Republican, whereas colleges probably do, especially depending on the major, probably skew more in one direction. But it's really a case of like K through 12 is like ultra heavily skews pro left. I feel like even if they do, I don't know, but.
The government.
Somebody has a source on that. Throw it out. I'm curious.
Even though I guess Trump will be in the government now, we all still know that largely there's a lot of politicians that condemn just being conservatives, you're transphobic, all these certain things. I mean,
politicians that condemn being conservative? Okay.
Literally every single major institution in America skews left. So we're sick of being told that, no, we're just feeling like victimized. No, that's the truth. Tell me, can you answer the question? How many teachers, like, be honest, were left wing that you could tell?
I mean, if you could
high school district? Oh, it was probably
no, it's
more.
Like that
doesn't matter.
Teachers.
Like overall,
so you might have an issue.
Like statistically, teachers wildly skew Democrat.
Absolutely.
You might have an issue with the actual with the outlet, but the transgender women are every bit as biologically female as cis women. Biological trans state lawmaker claims. That's Zoe Ziffer, the Montana state rep.
Yeah. So the trans women are women. Full stop thing. I don't have a problem with. Obviously, biologically female is an incorrect statement.
Okay, so this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There are Congress people. There was a Congress person,
state rep, but yeah,
there is a trans person that was just elected to to the Congress in Delaware as a representative from Delaware. Shares these beliefs. But
I'd love to. See the context of that.
Delaware.
That's weird. Every bit is biologically.
What context do you need?
This is the reason there's a quote within a quote.
What context do you need when there's literally like, look at how hacked up this is. Transgender women are, quote, every bit is biologically, or quote, every bit is, quote, biologically female, end quote, as cis women, end quote, bisexual trans state lawmaker claims. Jesus Christ. What context do you need? I don't know any.
I think probably this is total guess. She might just be wrong, which I will totally admit.
Also, remember, defend. Yeah, no, fuck you, Caesar salad. Yes, that's exactly what I say. Remember, it's Luke. We're Democrats. Defend. I'm sorry. Can we look up what did Marjorie Taylor Greene say about literally fucking anything? Like the crazy. Like if I were to, I bet she's got like a fucking. Was she also doing the weather controlling thing? Yes, they can control the weather. It's ridiculous for anyone to lie and say that it can't be done. And of course, when you confront them on this, they'll always be like, well, actually, cloud seeding is actually, that's actually a real thing. And I was just like bringing that up, just and completely out of nowhere. Also, when those wildfires or whatever happened, she was also a proponent of the space laser theory. Find me the quote. Find me the exact quote. Now, to be fair, this was before she was in Congress, I believe, right? Wait. When did Marjorie Taylor Greene first elected Congress? Hold on, let me check. Maybe it wasn't actually. Was it 2021? Okay, it was 2021. So this is a couple years beforehand, to be fair. There are now over 70 people confirmed dead and over 1,000 missing. The fires in Sierra are a horrific tragedy. I'm praying for all involved. I'm posting this in speculation because there are too many coincidences to ignore. And just putting it out here from some research I've done, stemming from my curiosity over PG&E stocks, which tanked all week, then rallied Thursday night after California officials announced that they would not let PG&E fail. I find it very interesting that Roger Kimmel on the board of directors of PG&E is also vice chairman of Rothschild Inc., international investment banking firm. I also find it interesting the long history of financial contributions that PG&E has made to Jerry Brown over the years and millions spent in lobbying. What a coincidence it must be that Governor Brown signed a bill in September of 2018 protecting PG&E and allowing PG&E to pass off its cost of fire responsibility to its customers in rate hikes and through bonds. It must also just be a coincidence that the fires are burning in the same projected areas that the $77 billion high-speed rail project is to be built, which also happens to be Governor Brown's pet project. And what are the odds that Feinstein's husband, Richard Blum, is the contractor of the rail project? Geez, with that much money, we could build 3 U.S. southern border walls. Then oddly, thirdly, there are all of these people who've said that they saw what looked like lasers or blue beams of light causing the fires, and pictures and videos. I don't know anything about that, but I do find it really curious that PG&E's partnership with Solarin on space solar generators starting in 2009, they announced the launch into space in March of 2018, and maybe even put them up before that. Space solar generators collect the sun's energy and then beam it back to Earth to a transmitter to convert to electricity. The idea is clean energy to replace coal and oil. If they're beaming the sun's energy back to Earth, I'm sure they wouldn't ever miss a transmitter receiving station, right? I mean, mistakes are never made when anything new is invented. What would that look like anyway? A laser beam or a light beam coming down to Earth, I guess. Could that cause a fire? I don't know. I hope not. That wouldn't look so good for PG&E, Rothschilds Inc., Solarin, or Jerry Brown, who sure does seem fond of PG&E. Good thing for Solarin that Michael Peavy is on their board, since he's a former president of California. Like, bro, this is just one thing out of like a million insane fucking things that this lady has said. But like the idea that this is the hill that we're about to die on, seriously? And I believe she made crazy statements about the Hawaii fire as well. Although I don't know too late to look for that, so I take that with a grain of salt.
I think there's a chance someone said, "Are they biologically female?" And she said, "They're every bit a woman as a cis woman."
There's no context needed. It's very
there is,
clear.
because when we make the distinction between like your gender identity, right, how you're identified,
gender identity or
versus your
biology?
biology.
She said biology.
Okay, but like
then just like play the quote, or look at the quote, read the whole quote.
The only thing the quote is what I'm wondering about, if that was her words, but maybe. But it looks like that's what she said, and then she would be wrong.
I think the reason they put the quotes in there is because it's actually like factually wrong what she said.
Oh, maybe that's why.
They're not actually biologically female. So she's saying they're biologically female. So the quotes are to say, oh no, she's implying this, but it's actually wrong. So
yeah. So then State Rep Zoe Zephyr would have made an incorrect statement there.
So like, you know how you were saying,
why don't concede it? You should literally have the Why do I pause on the weirdest frames? You should look up the clip, make them play it. What was the thing?
The left focuses on economic issues and things like that.
Not enough, but
okay. But when I was watching, like, I think that both sides do this, and it's really because the general American public is stupid. And so, like, this is how they do it. But if you were to look at, like, the marketing materials of both sides, clearly they were, like, fanning the flames. We were looking at, a clip that you said of Kamala Harris saying the thing about the transgender prisoners and all that, right? And we were focusing on those type of issues. But at least she said it. We had her literally running ads that were complete.
Speaker Johnson confirms my scoop, issuing a statement on Capitol bathrooms. All single-sex facilities in the Capitol and House office buildings, such as restroom, changing rooms, and locker rooms, are reserved for individuals of that biological sex. I literally just got a meetings with members of Congress and used the bathroom on my way out. Trans women are women, full stop. Every bit is biologically female as cis women, and Speaker Johnson's statements doesn't change the fact that women's spaces include trans women. In the context of this, probably okay. This is a pretty retarded statement, though. I mean, I would say, sure. Still not even 1/1,000,000th as retarded as fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene statements, and also still not an attack on fucking conservatives.
Factual lies. Yeah. We had Kamala Harris saying that Trump doesn't support IVF, but he actually said a plan for IVF.
Every time they said the very fine people statement.
Yeah, like, and it was debunked like a million times, but everyone said it over and over. Obama said it on the platform.
Context a little bit.
In this election misinformation stuff will never be censored.
He specifically said, "I'm not talking about the white nationalists and the Nazis." He specifically said that.
Okay, but
I agree. It's been taken out of context, but it's also
my
not.
God, you shouldn't even grant any of that.
Lie, because he was saying the people who wanted the statue to stay, that was comprised of a lot of white nationalists. That's what a lot of that was.
That's a real
and then Trump
stretch.
made the distinction.
That's a real stretch when he specifically said.
What were the two sides?
People that didn't want their history torn down.
Yeah, there were people there that were.
That is, but okay.
The statue?
Yeah, there's people like me.
Yeah, the statue thing is like.
I love Robert E. Lee. I love him. I love that man. And like, I learned so much about him and what
the statue thing is like.
I love Robert E. Lee. I love him. I love that man. And like, I learned so much about him and what
Why can't you learn history without celebrating bad parts of it?
Wait. He wasn't a bad person in general. Actually, he wasn't even like a fan of slavery. He loved. See, we don't have a devotion to our land like they did back then. Land was sustenance for them. Land was survival for them back then. And so what his problem was is like he was actually a West Point guy, right? Like he was a West Point guy, and he was asked to fight for the Union, and he said, "I can't fight brother against brother, and so I'm going to go defend Virginia." He wasn't like General Lee wasn't like about the slavery thing. As a matter of fact, I think he had less than
something like 1.5% of American Southerners own slaves.
Yeah,
oh my God, bro, we're really doing this too? And what, only 1,500 Jews died in the Holocaust? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. It's actually a shame. It's like shameful. This is shameful.
That's not the point. I don't even want to get into that conversation. But that doesn't mean that he was like a bad person. He was a brilliant general. And he was actually a very cool, good human being. And just because he feels some loyalty to land, and he doesn't want to fight against his own
someone,
brother or
no matter
family.
how good of a person you think they were, is the leader, leads the military uprising and rebellion against the United States government over the issue
who fired first?
Slavery.
Who drawled up?
Who fired first? Oh, it was the North's fault. Even though the South said they were seceding from the Union, it was the North's fault?
That is not.
I don't think that it's a great. Listen, there's 10 minutes left or so, and I don't think that it's a great idea to try to debate the Civil War. But what I would like to do on the
you'd love my middle school teacher.
The very last thing that I want to talk about is immigration, right? The problems at the border. I am interested in your takes, considering the fact that for 3 of the 4 years that President Biden was was in office, there was no problem at the border. There's no problem at the border, and it was all
South fired first. Yeah, at Fort Sumter, I think technically.
Nothing's wrong. President Biden himself said that he wanted to see a surge at the border when he was running. The surge came. There were massive negative consequences.
What is this quote of the? Fuck, didn't we look this up before? He wanted to see like a surge of illegal immigrants or what?
For the population.
Why, you should have to look these up, Luke, next time. Look these up. Give us the full quotes. Give us the quotes. Look them up.
And now we have a significant increase in crime, and you have cities that are dealing with the economic burdens.
In trafficking, human trafficking
that's happened because of it. And then for the past year, the Biden administration.
Why do you guys even care about that? Like, stop lying about that. Let's say that a study came out tomorrow, or some analysis came out tomorrow, and you were to see, oh, actually, human trafficking goes down when we allow more illegal immigrants. Does that mean you're in favor of it now? No, of course not. Like, this is not a determinative factor for you. You don't give a fuck at all about these things. Stop pretending.
Burdens.
In trafficking, human trafficking
that's happened because of it. And then for the past year, the Biden administration has admitted, or the last year of the administration, they admitted that there was problems. I'd like to hear your take on that. I'm interested in what your opinion is.
Yeah. So, I don't want to trigger you and bring up Trump again, but let's start with my criticism of Democrats, but then let me talk about why Republicans aren't any better on this issue. But first,
well, no, that's not. I'm not asking you why Republicans are better. I'm asking you to talk about your Democrats.
It is
you can talk about the Democrats
because they are linked. Because
just shit on your own people. It's like Charlie Kirk and Cenk. Like, just shit on Democrats for us, okay? That's what you're here for. Like, just shit on the Democrats, okay? Please, just attack the Democrats for us.
And inaction was in part prompted by the fact that Republicans refused to do anything congressionally, which Biden thought a systemic approach was better.
That's not true.
I'll show you exactly. Hold on. Let me just say this. In 2019,
if you're going to ask me a question like, give me your take on immigration,
I would like to take Lisa.
All right, so Biden, Harris, at the beginning, made a lot of bad calls. They waited too long to address it comprehensively. Now, they didn't introduce an immigration reform thing right when they came in. Republicans said we don't want to engage at all. That could have been a chance to do something. They did propose the border security bill. Trump encouraged Republicans to shoot down. So there's these cases of why Republicans should.
You know why the Republicans?
I know why.
Oh my God! If he says the Ukraine thing, I swear to fucking God, dude.
Y'all think it is, but that's wrong. It's not because a bunch of people were let into the country.
No. Let him answer. Why?
That's not why.
Okay, what do you think?
Well, because it would have allowed for people that were.
Sorry, go. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just debated a lot. Sorry, go.
So we already know all the dumb fucking talking points, the midwit talking points.
It would have allowed for 5,000.
Oh, for 5,000 a day. Oh, he's just this one. Yeah, that was the cap. There currently is no cap unless you try to do one by executive order and hope it doesn't get challenged. Like that. Yeah, but they think that the cap is like the minimum that would be allowed or something.
5,000 people to be let in, and it would have allowed, essentially been a naturalization bill. It would have allowed the people that were here to stay.
So
no,
the 5,000 point, I've dealt with so much because it's not that. It was that right now, encounters with the people that you're arresting, if there are 5,000 encounters per day,
on average over 2 weeks or something, or over a week or something, then it allows you to basically say nobody's allowed in for some number of weeks after, which you don't really have the power to do right now.
That doesn't do anything in terms of enhancing presidential powers. What this bill proposed was not that you're letting them go, but instead that the 5,000 triggers new power that Trump never had, that Obama never had, that Biden never had, that allows you to restrict the asylum process. Because right now under U.S. law, Trump and Biden, same, you have to hear asylum claims very expansively. This would restrict that once the encounters get out of control, which is very different than just letting them.
With 5,000 people right up until.
You hear what I said? They're still getting arrested.
Yes.
Okay.
They're still getting arrested.
They weren't being held. They were being allowed.
And as I think I put it in the doc,
right?
I put it in the doc. I'll pull it up. But let's do the comparison later because I know that'll immediately prompt more responses than just. I do think Biden Harris that hurt them a lot. That issue, but politically, it didn't spike crime. Crime has been plummeting on them. But I do think as an issue, they were afraid of the really, which a lot of beautiful people doing this work, the immigrant advocates. They were afraid that they would look too much like Trump's inhumane policies, which he went too far in the inhumane direction.
They're like kids in cages. That was actually fake photos from under Obama.
The cages weren't for separating. The cages weren't for separating children like Trump was doing. But yes,
when you get arrested, parents don't get.
And yes,
when you get arrested,
they don't stay with
your kids. Do you think it's inhumane to be arrested and then have to have your kids not? Kids should be held in jail with their parents.
Given the type of crime that crossing the border illegally is, and it not being a felony. You can fact check me on that.
But you're having people, if you keep them together.
I don't think separating the children a very traumatic thing. If maybe they have a valid, asylum claim, and all of a sudden you're doing this crazy thing, and then they get all mixed up, and it's this whole.
But do you see why?
Wait. So my thing, I'm trying to be nice to y'all.
I know, yes,
they waited too long to take it seriously, but then y'all don't have a thing to say about it because once they were ready to take it seriously, Republicans went, nah.
Okay, here's my turn.
I put in the doc, Newsweek reports Trump released, your brains are going to explode, but more migrants with criminal records than Biden did.
Okay.
Entering the U.S. is a felony.
Okay, time out. Thank you. So wait, let me just go. Don't talk. Okay, so here we go.
Lisa,
what I want to say is when this is like, it's humane. I think it's more humane to separate kids from their parents, like in these situations, because you're housing them with other people who cross the border who have not been vetted. So do I want kids in this tightly quartered environment with people who may be like adults that may be predators or things like that? No, you want the kids separated from them so that they're, wait, let me finish.
The first offense is a misdemeanor.
Okay, hold on. You got to go. Let me go. So So I think it's more humane to separate the kids to protect their well-being. Now, that said, now come here. You said, this is my biggest thing, because I did a lot of street interviews with James Klug on this. The biggest thing that they say is when we were ready to act, Congress didn't want to do it. Let me show you this, because I was here for this. In 2019, the Democrats rejected a border wall. Now, can you please scroll down there and look at the things that it offered?
What do you mean? The problems in 2019 were completely fucking different. I don't think we had the mass asylum issues in 2019 yet. Why would we go back 5 years? Why would we go back and compare? This isn't even remotely the same type of thing.
Okay, we were giving, okay, $800 million for urgent humanitarian assistance.
I don't even know if, wait, in 2019, what was the composition of the of Congress? Had the Republicans lost the House yet? I don't even know if Republicans supported this bill altogether, did they?
$500 million for drug detection, additional border agents, immigration judges. That was huge, right? We also were giving, keep going, if you go all the way down. Oh, yeah. Allowing Central American minors to apply in their home countries, all these things. And then in exchange for, we were giving recipients from DACA. We were going to give more DACA recipients the ability to become naturalized. And a 3-year extension of temporary.
No, it was to give an extension of that legal status. It was to protect them for 3 more years from Trump just axing the program. What a lie.
Very protected status.
You're lying about what's like literally on the screen.
Here, Dems rejected it. So when you want to give me the argument that, well, Republicans didn't want to do anything. No, we actually gave them a way more balanced bill than they ever put on the table.
But
this is an NPR article.
You're right. More balanced. You're right. Yeah.
We gave you way more balanced opportunity. So I don't want to hear that we weren't ready to play ball.
This is what I'm talking about, though. Whenever that wasn't Biden. Biden wasn't in power then. I'm talking about Biden because that's who was running for president.
We're talking about Democrat versus Republican.
Harris. I can't speak for every Democratic action because I can tell you this.
Well, we're talking about the Democratic Congress. The Democratic Congress rejected this, just like the Republican Congress.
This is like so retarded. Holy shit.
Yours. Wait, no, you got to talk. It's my turn. So what I'm saying.
Ask me a question. I want to tell you.
I'm saying that the Democrats, you said you're changing it back to Biden. That's not what we're doing. You said the Congress didn't want to act.
Administration.
No, you said Congress. You said Congress didn't want to act.
What did I think about the Biden administration's handling of the border?
I'm not going to defend you on this one because
I don't need you to defend. I'm just saying you did ask me about Biden administration. I want to talk about this.
You said Congress. Let me talk about it. I'm not going to finish my statement. You said Congress didn't act. The Congress refused to act. You didn't say Biden didn't act or Trump didn't act. You said Congress. And so I'm going back to
during the Biden administration. I said for the first 2.5 years, he slow walked. He did. Bad. I condemn.
And then when it was time.
And then on this, the whole border wall thing, I agree. It got so ridiculously blown out of proportion. Give him the damn border wall if he wants it.
We tried to work with you. This is what this is showing. And you rejected us. And then when we reject you, it's, we are responsible for the immigration.
This is literally a bill suggested like during the fucking government shutdown. This isn't even like a real This is like weaponizing the worst aspect of like U.S. congressional negotiation. Like this is literally fucking during the because it said that workers were furloughed or whatever, didn't it? Some 800,000 federal workers throughout the country have either been furloughed or made to work. Have been made to work. Like Jesus Christ, bro!
Like that's not what we're doing. You said
why didn't he do it in the first 2 years of his admin?
Congress didn't want to act.
Administration. I said for the first 2.5 years, he slow walked. He did. Bad. I condemn.
And then when it was time.
And then on this, the whole border wall thing, I agree. It got so ridiculous. I was told that Trump had fixed everything and handed that to Biden.
It was way better. Look at the stats.
Okay.
Way better.
Well, there was
in Biden's last, or not in Biden, in Trump's last year of running this country, I believe he had more illegal border crossings than any year under Barack Obama. Under Trump's last year as president. I don't know if somebody brings over a fucking thing of border crossings.
Because he was leaving office, but no, the 1 year y'all love was the pandemic year because migration froze because of the pandemic. But I don't even know if we want to go there because that's like
you won't speak for all Democrats, but you'll speak for all of us.
We have 2 minutes, and I wanted to get to see what we could agree on and how we could
my God.
get along. But let's finish this up.
How about we both agree that obstructing solutions, because in Nancy Pelosi's case, she probably didn't want to give Trump a win. In the Republican-led Congress, they didn't want to give Biden a win, is bad, regardless of who's doing it.
All right, so we are going to wrap it up. But I do want to get final thoughts. Would you go ahead, Luca? What do you got for us?
Thank you for watching. I've enjoyed talking with all of you. Go watch on my channel.
We can't say what we're going to agree on.
Luke Beasley.
Fine. We can say the final. We'll do it a different one.
Isabella and I have a
They
show.
didn't even talk about what they opened the show with.
Once a week on Sundays that comes out called The Grudge, where we do a lot of this. And she's way more fiery than
that's because I take over.
It's explosive.
Yeah.
Too much so. We have to edit some out. So.
Yeah, see, we can't have Isabella's stuff.
Let Isabella talk, Lisa.
Y'all would have a difficult time editing if she went full Isabella. So that's interesting. And
we're fun time editing.
I do think if you're sort of like liberal curious, I'm the best version of it.
Yeah, we have a show. You guys should watch it. We fight. We literally are yelling at each other the entire time. It's a lot of fun. I do want to commend Luke for coming and sitting and talking with us because it really was 3 against 1. So he's a good sport. Most leftists won't do that. So that's really cool. And yeah, it was exciting.
I think you're reasonable. And I think we could get to a lot more neutral ground than people think we can. Yeah, I think we can agree on stuff, even though that was a whole 2 hours of fighting.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was like yelling.
That flew by.
That was me yelling.
I know, but then I feel like I yell.
I'm a loud person though.
I know you are. Oh, but yeah, thanks for having me. Check out the show. I also have a YouTube channel at @IsabelleMoody_. And yeah.
Lisa?
I just want to say, like I said, thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. I think we need more of these kind of discussions. And it's, as somebody who books for this show specifically, it's really difficult to get leftists to come on at all to even engage in these conversations. And this was really
because Tim is so fucking petrified about who he lets on the show. There's
Usually it's not this bad. It's not 3 against 1. So thank you. And if you have any friends that want to come on, send them our way. And you can come with them. You can tag team in. You know, like.
Oh, I got a good one.
Okay, good. Like, let's set it up because I think it's interesting and more people. Our audience likes it. Like our audience wants us to engage with you more. So thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And I'm sad we missed an opportunity to talk about the things we do agree on because I think that there could be lots of things. So maybe next time we'll do, hey, what can we agree on?
And I want to take a second to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See, I'm the one that's
why you're the host.
Holiday spirit here.
Happy Hanukkah.
I'll say Happy Holidays.
Where was the video where they were like, is there even a Christmas tree near Biden or whatever? Or is there like any Christmas stuff near Biden? There's like a giant fucking Christmas tree like right behind them. Oh my God.